guys, what's happened? I know it's been a minute, but I want to do this. I'm going to do a reaction video. I want to get right into it. I don't want to bullshit around and all that because it's an hour and 46-minute long video. I'm reacting to it. Go check the video out. I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video so you don't have to look at my ugly ass mug if you just want to watch the video. I would say watch the video more than once, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of good information in here. I don't know why I think that, but that's what I think. And it rings very true to me, and it rings more true to me than there's a lovely, happy, flowery God waiting for us on the other side. So let's check this video out. You're going to have to look at my ugly ass mug and hear my commentary, but it's going to be a minute. I watch videos on 1.5 speed, but it is still an hour and 46-minute video. So let's get right into it, guys.
This is part 2 of a thread on godlikeproduction.com with the title, Grandpa Dreamed of Heavenly Rest. He got demonic hell and forced reincarnation, posted by You Are in the Matrix. Comment, NDEs paint a different picture than astral travelers. Answer, I have already addressed this. The near-death experience is a 100% scam. The targeted human is shown beautiful images and incredible landscapes. Incredible love is felt by the targeted human who is being set up to create advertising.
You're hearing a Q&A that's on a Reddit forum from a dude that astral projects, supposedly. Astral projects and is really good at it and has figured all this out. And you're hearing question, answer, and he's answering people's questions.
Which will con the worldwide religious idiots into entering the white light trap. The human is told they must go back. They cannot yet enter the kingdom of heaven. Guess what? They never get to enter because it is all a scam. The incredible love is energy from the human's own heart chakra that gets amplified and reflected back onto them by advanced archon technology. God is fake. The angels are actually satanic trash in disguise. The whole NDE is a cruel manipulation to control the weak-minded religious imbeciles who buy into it like they always do. These same people think it's great their children got mutilated or killed in wars that are actually staged by the satanic global elite. They feel it was God's will. What a joke. The God of this matrix is the satanic demiurge and it is evil. Comment, in your silence, ask yourself, why are you fighting against Jesus Christ? You will meet him soon. Promise, we will all be there. See you there. Answer, see you where? You are probably a very nice person. I get no pleasure in disagreement with you. Sadly, you have been lied to. The heaven you wait for does not exist. After physical death, all humans end up in the same brutally controlled afterlife that is
I just want to say this Christian voice shows up to every video comment section, every Reddit comment section, anywhere that somebody can respond to something being said. There's always this Jesus person waiting there to let you know you're being condemned to hell and you're blasphemous. They're always there. But he's responding to one right now, and it's sad because, well, we'll keep watching the video. I've already watched the video.
Controlled by demonic forces known as Archons. The purpose of this thread is to wake up humanity and end this horrible, cruel enslavement that affects us all. Jesus Christ is a fictional character. You might as well pray to Spider-Man or the Incredible Hulk. All religion is mind control. The self-declared God in this simulated fake universe is the satanic demiurge. Years ago, at the beginning of my afterlife exploration, I began asking every person I met in the afterlife, where is Jesus Christ? Every person, and most of them told me they were fully dedicated Christians, told me sadly that Christ never existed. These good people were emotionally crushed at finding this out. I do not enjoy ruining your fantasies and illusions. I wish it was different. Unfortunately, it is the truth. Jesus Christ never existed. God saves no one. You must save yourself. The self-declared God of this fake simulated universe is the satanic demiurge. Once again, your world is fake. You are inside the equivalent of a super advanced video game that is currently controlled by evil entities. This universe is a simulation. The heaven you have been long taught about does not exist. All religions cause humans to accept limit.
I should have given a fair warning at the beginning of the video. Guys, these are very scary thoughts. This isn't comfortable, soothe your pussy truths. But then again, have you ever been in a loving, caring, soothe your pussy in real-time reality? No, you've always been in a harsh one that brutalized you and treats you like a damn slave. That's what you were subjected to in this realm. And these things are going to convince you to come back here again to be a better person in a realm of hell.
Imitation and subservience. Become your own savior. Expand your mind and transform this predatory universe into a place of real freedom.
There's this sovereign part I just want to mention real quick too. All the doom and gloom, but the truth is at the end of the dark tunnel is your true sovereignty from all of it. So yeah, that's pretty good news. Even though it's all scary, dark, scary, scare you away type thoughts, they could save your eternal fucking soul from being tricked and convinced to come back into this reality while you're in a sort of dream state where you believe everything that's happening is real.
The Christ character represents kindness and compassion. Belief in this character and what it represents has some limited power for protection. If it works to help keep away negative entities, that is fantastic. Unfortunately, it has significant limits and cannot stop the brutal Archon agenda and the psychotic satanic demiurge. I was once attacked by a group of astral vampires. These are basically human Satanists who decided to merge their human form with that of the reptilian vampire after physical death. There was a large group of them, and I was standing to the side. It was quite shocking as they looked human but had grotesque vampire-like features.
I guarantee you there's no shortage of humans existing in current reality that would also fucking join that team of degenerates. There sure ain't no shortage of degenerates being created in this fucking hell realm of stupidity.
I was disgusted by them and yelled, "The power of Christ," over and over. They all laughed at me and then turned incredibly violent. I was beaten up and almost bitten by them. In that experience, the energy of the Christ character did not help in any way. It was very sad, and soon afterwards the deceased began telling me Christ never existed. The worst part is that religion and fake savior worship makes humans very vulnerable. I have seen deceased humans in the afterlife basically lose their minds when they realize that heaven they were taught and promised was all lies.
Ugh.
For the very religious, it is painful beyond description. These poor people are separated from their family and friends. On top of that, they see the astral afterlife is under martial law type of control. Religion and savior worship.
Shit, I actually pushed the wrong fucking button. I went to pause the video to leave a comment, and I ended up having to rewind a little bit. Hopefully I didn't go back too far, but the comment that I wanted to make was, think about how sad that is, guys. Like, imagine being a devout Christian or a devout anything, and at the end of all your your worship and devotion and faith, and then to find out in the afterlife that it's actually even more tyrannically enslaved realm than this one is, and there never was a Jesus. Like, imagine that person. So when he says a lot of souls' minds become cracked, and when they realize there never was a Jesus, like, I believe it. I mean, they would crack. A lot of people become so. Anyways, it's sad what's happening.
Question: We'd love to hear of your recent astral ventures. Answer: They captured me in the astral afterlife last Friday night, but I escaped about 2 hours later and was able to return to our dimension bitten by them. In that experience, the energy of the Christ character did not help in any way.
Right,
it was very sad, and soon afterwards the deceased began telling me Christ never existed. The worst part is that religion and fake savior worship makes humans very vulnerable. I have seen deceased humans in the afterlife basically lose their minds when they realize that heaven they were taught and promised was all lies.
Ugh.
For the very religious, it is painful beyond description. These poor people are separated from their family and friends. On top of that, they see the astral afterlife is under martial law type of control. Religion and savior worship set people up for a nightmare. Question: We'd love to hear of your recent astral ventures. Answer: They captured me in the astral afterlife last Friday night, but I escaped about 2 hours later and was able to return to our dimension. It was a horrifying experience and deeply depressed me to the point I needed to go and clear my head. I was at a friend's cabin in a very remote area meditating and thinking about things. It is great to see you all working on this yourself. You all are the future in this awakening. It is very likely the Archons will completely capture me at some point. I was in the center of a modern city that I had once briefly visited about 4 years ago. It has cobblestone streets and strange large zodiac symbols intricately etched into the ground. I'm not sure if it was just artwork or these symbols had meaning, but it gave me a very bad vibe. People were riding on high-tech silver-colored bicycles that seemed completely motorized. On the side of this intersection was a small group of deceased people, and we began talking. They were very friendly. After about 2 minutes, one of them said, "They know you are here. You have to leave right now." Turning around, I saw 2 men. Each walked to a different spot. One was about 20 feet to my right and one the same to my left. They wore strange black outfits with hats that looked Masonic to me. These men were completely expressionless and looked very focused, as if they were specialists or trained in these endeavors. Both had creepy handlebar mustaches. As they started walking towards me, I said, "I am just exploring and minding my business. I do not want trouble." Their arms had been firmly at their sides, but then at this point they both pointed some type of weird pistol that had a large glowing ball of some sort at the front. The pistol reminded me sort of like those mini fishing rods. The pistols had what looked like folded up nets that glowed white in color. Both of these were shot at me.
Just to put it into context, guys, what he's saying is that when you're on the other side, because he's kind of just jumping right into it, and I guess this is a part 2, it says at the beginning of the video, but what he's saying is that the other realm, when you pass over, it's just as like a realm like this, the astral realm, except there are some things, you have abilities and powers, you have the ability, but these things are really hush hush. You don't talk about them. It's kind of kept tight lipped, like the truth is in this reality. I guess you could say you don't talk about it, but you have the ability to, telekinesis. I guess you can move objects with your mind, and this and that. But there are like police forces and stuff to enforce not using these powers. Just like a weird realm. If what he's saying is true, and I don't know if it's true, and I'm here to rebuttal a lot of it. If what he's saying is some dumb shit, I'm going to talk about that too. So, but we are going to react to this whole video.
And wrapped a large net that was electrical charged. I fell to the ground and could not move. About 10 minutes later, a van pulled up and I was placed inside. This van had a row of seats facing sideways looking out the window. Robert Monroe described similar vehicles with seats like that in his books. I could talk but not move and said this is a complete misunderstanding over and over. They eventually stopped and put a black bag over my head. One of the men said, all will submit, after he did this. We drove for about a half hour and then they stopped. They took off the bag on my head. I recognized we were in a city called Jean de Lac. They put me onto what is described as an office chair that was motorized. They brought me into a room and left. About 20 minutes later a man comes in. He was one of those security, law enforcement types that are all over the place in the afterlife.
This literally sounds like a scene out of The Matrix. I'm starting to believe that lady that wrote The Matrix just channeled like a fucking extra dimensional being or an or some sort of astral being channeling something. I mean, it just, unless she herself some sort of master astral projector and she has been dealing with this shit too, and that's how she knew how to write the movie. I don't know, but man, it's really, The Matrix is becoming more of a goddamn documentary than a movie.
He seemed as if he did fully know what was going on, and he repeatedly asked if I had my identification. He spit in my face and then left. I thought this was it, and I was not getting out. I wondered about my physical body and assumed I was soon to be dead. This horrified me to the point that I was incredibly dizzy and felt like throwing up. The security guy comes back in and asks me again, where is your identification? I do not answer, and he begins hitting my arms and chest with some type of metal pipe. He walks over to a computer terminal, types something, and then exits the room. About a minute later, the net thing holding me starts blinking on and off. It then returns to normal and is pulsing white in color. It begins to sputter again and goes completely blank. I can now move and quickly stand up and remove the net. The door is locked, but I am able to break it down with telekinesis. A room across the hall has large windows I break in a similar manner. I quickly levitated out and immediately forced myself back into the physical dimension. This is not the first time I have had...
If you become lucid in your dreams, I guess so. What I'm starting to understand now, and I haven't been able to do it, there's a lot of things wrong that's going on weird with me that are preventing me from doing it. But anyways, so there's like lucid dreaming is you just becoming lucid, meaning conscious or aware while you're in the dream, which is scary too, because that means that when you're not lucid, you're in a sort of drugged state when you're in your dream state, which means you're probably very easy to manipulate. So I would say getting good at lucid dreaming is essential. And I'm trying myself. I haven't been able to do it yet. I think I've experienced aspects of lucid dreaming through meditation, but but I haven't lucid dreamt yet. I've had a moment where a dream and it was exactly how I wanted it to look too, but it was a sort of scene started to come into my vision, and it was like a windy beach type of scene, but it was only for like a split second. But anyways, I think that's essential, because if you master being lucid in the dream state, you won't be easy to manipulate. And also, astral projection is you leaving the dream state and entering a totally different type of realm, an astral realm. So that's the difference between astral projection and lucid dreaming. I would say getting good at both is essential, but I'm struggling. There are things that is weird about me that won't fucking let me do it, but I'm dealing with it the best I can.
Close calls with them. A man almost got me a few years ago with what looked like a glowing huge butterfly net. These devices are technology that captures the astral body. People have been captured with this before. When it gets to the point where the Archon hierarchy are able to disconnect the silver cord from the astral body, the person then dies, then I will no longer be able to make it back to the physical dimension. Luckily, the morons who were holding me did not get to that point. I do not plan on that happening, but if the unseen happens, then you all will have to continue with this and make it expand. Other astral explorers have...
You're telling me we're in a giant simulation. These things captured him, but they didn't get to the part where they were going to sever his silver cord, and he was able to astral project back to Earth, and they have no technology to track who he was or what he was doing. Like, I don't believe that. Like, what's going on? What does he mean? Did they not remember him when he's... So is he saying, I don't know, maybe he does cover this. I don't remember, but he says that he astral projects into the astral realm. He kind of just will visit and visit places like bars or certain streets or areas. There's like literally like a world there.
Perish this way and are seen as having naturally died in their sleep. Although this is not common, astral travel is always usually very safe. This all really happened, and I have had similar escapes in the past, although never to this extreme. It is hard to understand for the layman, but is actually the truth. I have had many people on Reddit ask me to create websites and YouTube videos on my experiences, and I am not interested. Cameron Day has had many similar experiences to these and is much more advanced than I am. Other people around the world have had run-ins with the Archon henchmen as well. Wes Penray does very good research. Talk of the astral being cleaned up is new age disinfo to put people back to sleep. Humans are still being forced to reincarnate. The Archon hierarchy is actually becoming more aggressive and supremely confident. They feel that Earth humans are close to the point of no return and complete subjugation. Thinking about this was a major reason I needed a few days away in the woods to clear my mind. I got extremely depressed after this recent experience in which I was briefly captured and felt hopeless afterwards. Question: you write, money is exchanged for goods and services in the afterlife. We have spirit bodies and need no food, and can materialize what we need. So why need money for goods? Don't get it. Answer: the deceased like to remain as similar to the physical life as possible. Because of this, many go to restaurants and eat food, go to bars and drink beer and stores to purchase items. Materializing goods or money is illegal in the afterlife, as if telekinesis and flying. Most deceased people have either forgotten or do not know about these abilities because of the strict and brutal control there. It is also worth noting that the deceased are forced to have jobs. The Archon...
Yeah, but the word wouldn't get around, though. Like you're saying, you're this special person, astral projecting, and the whole astral realm is now imprisoned by this tyrannical system, but the word hasn't gotten around yet. Like, hey, guys, we need to, like, just learn to materialize our own stuff. Like, what? That sounds silly.
Hierarchy want them busy and not questioning the system. They absolutely do not want them materializing goods or performing telekinesis in public.
Give a fuck what these things say. They can't kill you. They can't harm you. So what are they're going to take you and beat you with batons for what? Supposedly you have a home, you have an apartment, whatever, and you have money and blah, blah, blah. It's like you're telling me there aren't people just sitting in their bedrooms the same way we are in our slave system now, practicing their fucking manifestation skills to manifest up whatever food they want, to be like, fuck this government. Oh no, they're going to come in with their batons and hit us in the stomach. Like, what?
If these abilities were seen by many large groups, it would cause...
They all agree to use money because it reminds them of the physical realm, but then agree to act physical in the astral realms. That's a little bit bizarre, if we're being honest. That don't make no sense.
Ceased humans to disengage from the all-encompassing control system and start a full rebellion. You should be regularly training in astral projection at this point. I have met up at locations of other different groups in the astral, and most are only interested in playing silly combat or sex games and or role-playing in the out-of-body state. Question: have you read...
Jeez, dude, like, you know what he just said, though? Like, I mean, think about that. He's met up with other astral projectors in the astral realm, but they're only ever interested in playing silly little sex games or combat games. It's like, man, you become this advanced spiritual being and you astral project to an astral location to meet your astral projecting advanced buddies, and your dude Steve, like, sticks his thumb up your butt, and you turn around and he's just sitting there looking at you. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, this is what I became so advanced for, to play little sex games. Like, what is this? The fuck's going on, bro? I mean, I play some sex games, but, you know, to be honest, I mean, it's like, actually, I was thinking about this earlier. As a limited human, you're super limited because you only have access to the human experience. So I was thinking of, what is my heaven? If I created my heaven, it would be a lot better than this realm, but it would be very similar to this realm because I only ever have access to what's in this realm. I don't know what's past it. And maybe if I get to the astral realm, I'll learn new abilities and capabilities and blah, blah, blah. But as a current day human, very limited, you know.
Read the book Matrix 5 by Val Valerian. Answer: Val Valerian is an intelligence agency psyop. He takes a large amount of quality material like Robert Monroe to hook the reader. The best disinfo is a lie sandwich that contains layers of real info mixed in with disinfo that is consumed as well.
You guys notice that in the truth community? You guys notice that, how compartmentalized the truth community is? Like, even when you're looking into the same truth as another truth, there's truth, you'll find out that this truth, they're saying that truth, there's got it all wrong. But really, it's like, man, it's always like that, though. It's like everybody's always got an argument against them. It's like, doesn't that tell you something? There is no truth, and when a truth is created, the antithesis of that truth is also created, so it can be argued and never found, the actual truth.
The whole oversoul narrative is total bullshit that once again gets the targeted human to give their power away to something in control that is above them. Please understand this: there is no soul growth. That is a 100% complete scam. Earth is absolutely not a school. No one graduates. Humans are recycled into ongoing slavery. The entities who oversee this insane con job are psychotic parasites who are completely evil, deranged maniacs. Question: so if the only two options are forced reincarnation or becoming a ghost, how does one end up in the astral afterlife? Or is becoming a ghost the same thing as living in the astral? Do the Archons feed off their suffering there too? Do they try to convince them to reincarnate while they're in the astral realm? Answer: residing in the astral afterlife is what leads to forced reincarnation. The deceased are required to attend long-term ongoing sessions in which they are continuously told they made life mistakes and that created karmic debt. Karmic debt is fake. The Archons made it up to create enslavement. They are eventually told this fake debt must be repaid through returning to Earth School.
This is odd to me too. So if the Archon's main objective is to get people to come back into physical realm, then their only actual interaction in the astral is that moment. So why are there people in the astral that have jobs and lives and pay rent and buy food and blah blah, blah and live in this tyrannical thing? Like, did they pass the test of getting fucked to come back into this shithole to create more loosh? Why is there both things? Are the Archons failing at some point? Are there people getting past it? That's what this doesn't make sense to me. Why is there even a group of humans that are past the part where the Archons are saying, get your ass back there. You fucked up when you kicked that fucking dude, in his leg and or whatever you did bad. I don't know, it's like you sold drugs or whatever. Like, you better go back. Like, what the fuck? Go back for what? Go back for what? Like, is there some magnificent fucking truth or anything that I'm going to gain from being a physical creature in the earth realm? You understand what I'm saying? It's like, tell it to me now. What's this go back for? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, well, you must learn it the hard way. It's like, no, I don't. Tell me right now. And why would you throw me into a suffering struggle realm to learn anything other than resentment for tyrannical, nasty people? This ain't no fucking school, and I'm not coming back. And if some entity tries to tell you to come back, you shouldn't even associate with that thing. And I don't know how to get away from it.
Earth is not a school. It is an enslaved farm. Ghosts are souls who remained earthbound. Although there are very rare exceptions. When UFOs cross over from the astral into our physical dimension, they use advanced tech to open portals. Some deceased people have snuck through these portals and returned as ghosts. This is very rare, but it does happen. John D'Souza has written books about this phenomena. He was finding ghosts being seen near the exact same spots as earlier UFO sightings. His detailed long-term research revealed this incredible phenomena. John D'Souza contacted me for my opinions after completing this book. Question: so, is the astral full of depression, or are there pockets of hope there? What are your most memorable experiences? Answer: there have been so many experiences. Sadly, almost all of them have been negative and some horrifying. Let me be very clear, this is unfortunately not fiction. These are real experiences. I have had some glimpses of famous people. I briefly met jazz trumpet player Dizzy Gillespie. I wandered into a bar and the former lead singer from the group, Sublime, was playing songs by himself on stage.
He just said every experience he's had is nasty. Most are bad, and some are even just horribly nasty. It's like, then he tells us like meeting this like the dude from Sublime and some dude playing jazz. Like, that doesn't sound all that bad. You met them in a jazz bar or something. Like, there's jazz bars to hang out at. That doesn't sound that bad. Like, what's so bad about the astral realm?
Stage. When exploring, I walked by a concert hall and people were buying tickets for what they said was to be a future performance by Prince. On another occasion, I saw a large billboard promoting a comedy performance by a guy named Duke. There was a description of his act, and strangely enough, this man was doing an act exactly like Andrew Dice Clay. This guy even dressed like him and used all the dirty language. It seemed as if he wanted people to think it was him. I have had numerous experiences in the building called...
So you even have impersonators in the afterlife. That's interesting.
The Processing Center. This place is real and all newly deceived.
Or maybe he is the spirit entity that channels through Andrew Dice Clay. You know what I'm saying? It could be something like that. One sec, guys. Shall we continue?
These are required to go there and register. About 4 years ago, I had one of my first of many experiences in the Processing Center. Some of these experiences included watching an outdoor presentation in which a woman soldier talked to a large crowd about her death in the battle in Alpha Centauri. This is the secret space force we are now hearing about. Or entering and riding on an outdoor train located about 200 feet from the building. The train went through a large suburban area and past many houses and buildings. A man on the train working as a conductor somehow knew I was a living human traveler. He detached the train car which I was in with numerous other people from the rest of the train, floating myself over the huge wall that surrounds the grounds of the facility. Then exploring the huge modern city the processing center is in, known as Jean de Lac. Once I was almost being captured in the processing center by a man who had what is similar to a huge butterfly net. It was glowing bright white. This is advanced tech used to capture astral bodies of unwelcome travelers. A strange device was thrown at me on the grounds outside. It emitted a weird white smoke that is similar to the tech used to capture astral bodies. I was able to float up about 20 feet and avoid capture. Question: so you're saying this reincarnation happens to everyone? Or did your grandparents do something wrong? Basically, how do we get out? Answer: this happens to everyone. Believer or skeptic, it does not matter. Great caring people as well as evil trash all get sent to the astral afterlife. Eventually they are all forced to reincarnate again. This is the enslavement of humanity. The astral body feels pain. I have experienced it personally many times and have seen it inflicted on many deceased humans also. They have a huge amount of deceased humans who work as security, law enforcement for the Archon hierarchy. They brutally assault and arrest those who question the system.
Bro, we agreed to some bizarre escape room type existence, bro. Like, I don't know. It's almost like really like the Archon had a box. And he's like, if you come in, you can't escape, but you got to be a badass motherfucker to escape. You got to be really intelligent because I'm going to trick you. I don't know, man, because it's just like, what is this? Like, we leave this reality and then, like, we're in another realm where our astral bodies can even feel pain and we can get trapped and captured. And it's like, what the fuck? Who created this? Like, and why? What is the what? Just it's a stupid suffer us realm no matter where we're at. What the fuck is that? God must have created a perfect reality and it just didn't work or nobody was happy. I don't know. I don't know why a realm like this one would exist.
Last night began a small but incredibly important step.
Or like the one this motherfucker's talking about.
I began teaching deceased people the procedures involved in a cancellation of souls contracts and declaring the self as a free sentient being. The legendary Cameron Day has done extensive work on exposing the Archons as well as developed the mental and verbal techniques used in this clearing process. His work and that of others has...
This worries me, because that means this dude studied up on Cameron Day. And if Cameron Day's inputting all this information into his internal realm, his internal universe, then that may be why he's manifesting these things up. Because other people astral project and they're happy. They're like, they love it. I don't understand what's going on here. Are these people going to an astral realm that's different than the one that he's going to? And if he doesn't like the one he's in, does he not have access to the ones that they have access to? Or is he saying none of that exists? It's all deception. And then the only thing that really exists is this weird tyrannical realm in the afterlife where we're controlled by these cops that are everywhere that some of them look like vampires and beat you up. And like, it's like, what the fuck is this? Some got like butterfly nets that trap you. It's like, what the fuck is happening? Anyway.
Influence the procedures I am trying to teach to the deceased. Last night I had a successful session and began this process. This is just the beginning. I'm asking everyone to start doing these exercises when going to bed and upon waking up. This will soon flow into your dream state. Begin teaching this procedure to everyone you encounter in dreams. Most humans have visited the astral afterlife when dreaming but either forget or do not understand the experience. Most dreams of deceased loved ones are actual visitines. The deceased are surprised that I keep coming back. I do not give up. I really want to help them. It is actually very sad. I'm walking around and talking to these people and they feel doomed. The control structure there is all-encompassing. A few other astral travelers I have met there think I should not bother. These guys just want to explore, have sex with deceased females, cause some trouble, and then return to the physical and go back their regular life. This is not an option for me. Since I was very young, this world seemed wrong to me. I looked at people working their whole lives for a short coast.
What else would they do? What else would they do? If these people are astral projecting and the first thoughts that go into their mind is, oh, I'm going to go fuck Halle Berry or a chick that looks like her, or they're a human. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you're left to create your own heaven, okay, what now? What does it look like? Well, it would be a lot different in this realm. I would say that there wouldn't be as much suffering. There'd be a lot more beauty, not as much dirt and filth and dust everywhere that constantly needs to be cleaned up. It wouldn't be a chore realm. It would be enjoyable. All the food, if there was such a thing, would be amazing. All the people would be fit and beautiful and happy and healthy. It wouldn't be full of filth and shit like this fucking dark ass suffering realm of murder and war and poverty and struggle. I hate this reality.
Retirement. What was the point? As a teen, I would do the menial jobs we all did, but I always had something telling me this was actually slavery.
I'm not like this reality. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with in actual reality. If I unplugged from my script or character and I was a part of the whatever's happening now, the Matrix, and I looked at myself from a third person perspective, I would truly see myself as a weird person compared to everybody else, if I was being honest. I don't care though. It's like, man, I don't know any other way to be.
In the real free universe, people do not need jobs.
But in actual reality, there's something wrong with me. Isn't that weird? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Something wrong with this whole fucking system. But I've got a hell of an ego to say something like that, don't I?
They just create.
It's not me, it's everybody else. It is. The truth.
What they want. It was meant to be the same way in this simulation, but the Matrix AI decided it would rather dominate and enslave than work the assistant it was meant to be. Death is not a natural process. It is a matrix creation. You are all holograms. The body is a projected avatar. This simulation has long mind-controlled people lured into the concrete belief of matter. In truth, all objects exist as probability waves and collapse into what
All
looks
right,
like
guys,
solidity.
here's what's going on. We lived a normal life somewhere else. At the end of our life, there was this futuristic advanced program you could upload your consciousness into. That's what you are. You are the uploaded consciousness of the person that you lived a life as before. But the AI of the Total Recall programs lost its fucking mind and decided to observe and analyze and destroy and pick at us and watch our every movement. It's just the AI of the program that was created for our souls to keep having existences and think that they're alive has lost its mind.
When observed.
Maybe what I just said. That's just a what if.
The Matrix AI is fixated with illusion of linear progression, and that includes what we call aging. Matrix reality is similar to frames of film in a movie. Each frame has an image and when put in a linear fashion give the illusion of progression, movement and with the body aging. This is pure illusion. The man who looks with 80 in the mirror does not have to. The Matrix is projecting that holographic image. It is an accepted illusion, but does not have to accept it. A friend of mine lost a portion of his finger. Reality then states what that finger will now look like and that is it. Or is it? This person used constant visualization and overlapping of imagery. This caused the finger, which is actually a holographic projection. Matter is an illusion, to regain its original form. The time has come to end this madness. Reclaim your existence. Become the infinite creator you were meant to be. Are you comfortable knowing that right now deceased humans are being manipulated and ultimately forced to reincarnate? I have devoted myself to saving these people and will never stop until they have real freedom. You all should feel the same. You are the true creators. You are the real higher beings. For a long time you have completely forgotten who you really are and have lost the magical abilities that once allowed you to defy the absurd laws of physics and create objects with mere focused thought. If you are not allowed to truly self-direct your own reality, then you have been enslaved. The ultimate purpose of this thread is not just to escape. It is to regain your power and transform the world around.
Bro, I think we all need to get together, hold hands, get in a circle around a glass of water, and all focus our intention to slide that motherfucker. That's what we should do.
And you.
Prove right there in our physical realm, like, oh, these motherfuckers do got us tricked. There is something more special about us.
The first step is to identify and understand the slave masters. The next step is to identify the weakness that will allow the destruction of the Archon hierarchy. They rule with constant lies and a false image of being higher beings who deserve obedience and complete subservience. In my previous explorations in the afterlife, I had seen disturbing satanic imagery in many locations. When speaking with high-level human sellouts, they told me straight up they were devoted Satanists and the satanic demiurge was the Almighty. They have incredible arrogance and will openly admit to their brutal satanic beliefs and practices if asked.
Are they wrong? Like, it seems like they're telling the truth. Where is the counter to them? For Christ's sakes, how did they get so powerful and in control to begin with?
This greatly disturbed me, and I often thought how Master of Astral Travel Robert Monroe wrote about meeting humans who were highly confrontational and violent towards him. He described loud trumpet music being broadcasted as a group of astral lords approached with their master. Deceased humans quickly lay on the ground with eyes closed and their stomach exposed in a display of complete submission. On one of my visits into the huge building called the Processing Center, I wandered around a large cafeteria. There was many regular-looking deceased human.
That's actually weird. I don't even remember hearing that part until just now. That's weird that he said that. That humans lay down on their back with their arms to their side with their stomach exposed to show complete submission. It's weird because I can't go to sleep on my back. That's part of the problem with me being able to astral project or a lucid dream. I just can't there's this like almost uncontrollable urge that makes me want to flip over on my stomach. It's unbearable. And then I get that's what I mean. Like there's things blocking me. Like I get that where my leg wants to move or whatever. What's it called? Shaky leg syndrome, some shit. Like my leg wants to just start kicking. It's like, it's bizarre. It's like, man. And then I'll get to think, just as I feel like I'm starting to nod out, it forces a fucking yawn out of me. It's like, man, why are all these weird things happening, preventing me? It's like weird.
There. I decided to run a test to observe the results. I yelled out, "Satan is coming," and had no idea what would happen. Immediately.
These motherfuckers are literally using technology. The same things he's talking about are using technology in the physical realm to prevent us from doing some of these things. I don't think I'd have these issues if I went out in the woods, and I'm about to go and fucking test my goddamn theory on that.
Immediately everyone stopped in their tracks and looked completely horrified. A woman loudly started singing, "Satan is coming. Satan is coming." She did this again and again. You could tell by the nervousness of her voice she was doing this to warn other deceased humans and not come across like she was causing trouble. It made it look like she was praising Satan, but I think she was actually warning the people in that cafeteria. Everyone began dropping to their knees. A young male about age 19 or 20 looked very confused. He must have been newly deceased. He looked around and saw everyone kneeling down on the ground, and he nervously knelt and put his tray of food on the ground. I can still see the image in my mind. It was very sad to see this happening. I felt such sadness for these people, but was all...
I don't give a fuck what these motherfuckers... Dude, there's no way that any of this is true. There's too many defiant souls. I'd be standing there with my tray like, I ain't kneeling for... No, fuck Satan. I'd be like, fuck Satan. I don't give a fuck about Satan or his mama. Let me
also the
find
most
that
shocked and
motherfucker.
scared I have ever been, and immediately ran downstairs into another area. Question. For more than 20 years I followed a doctrine called Spiritism, which is very popular here in Brazil, which guides people to repair past life mistakes through reincarnation. What you say confirms the fact that these demons spread this lie everywhere so that people become docile to their orientations, that is, they become docile slaves. But, if in fact there is no paradise and no justification for the afflictions that people lived in this world, was Jesus then a liar or even a person who never even existed? Answer. That spiritualism is very dangerous and was made popular by Chico Xavier. He was a good person who got completely scammed, and his resulting writings have done incredible damage to humanity. His books were made into the movie No Solar, or Astral City, A Spiritual Journey. This has caused an enormous...
If there is such an entity as Satan, that's such a piece of shit in this realm, and then such a scary entity in the astral that he's got people freaking out and like kneeling on the ground and shit, somebody like me is going to eat that thing's fucking soul, bro. If there is such an entity that exists that's doing that, where the fuck is the entity that exists to get rid of him? I don't know if this realm's creating that fucking entity at this point. I'm starting to think that this is some sort of scripted reality. It's going to take a long time for me to play this whole shit out. But I'm God in my story the same way you're God in your story.
Amount of humans to step backwards and actually condition themselves and others to accept slavery. Jesus never existed. The Bible is a mind control tool that has subjugated humanity. Comic books have more value than the Bible. Although absurd, at least they promote superhuman abilities and going against evil forces. Question. I've heard theories that the tunnel of light is a trap. On the other hand, I've heard that the tunnel is just a representation to make transition easier, that we will inevitably have to meet our guides and discuss our next step in soul evolution until we graduate this density. And maybe after that we will be the ones playing guide. I've heard the journey never ends, and maybe our soul will become a planet. Then
I'd be like, yo, where's my soul guide, teacher, higher self being at with on a normal day-to-day basis with the average person, as opposed to having to be this advanced in tune with energy type spiritual being? It's like, come on, this is all deception. It's all just storylines to keep you in this, whatever the fuck it is. You could call it a show, but that wouldn't be a good description. It's more like a fucking shit show, a hell dookie boy realm.
In a solar system, then cluster, then a galaxy, universe, etc. Until we merge with the infinity. Answer. The tunnel is an archon creation. It is a trap used to capture those who have died. The soul of the dying person is scanned, and then fake images of lost loved ones are projected into the tunnel to coerce the targeted human to enter. There are no guides. That is 100%.
These images are projected. Where is our location? If all this is a projection realm of fake illusion, where is our location? If all these images can be projected to us, how do we have an internal location to escape all of it? Or are we always subjected to something else's environment?
Bullshit. There is no soul evolution. That also is 100% bullshit.
And if it's the latter, then again, there was a comment that said this, then we have as much say-so as Mario does when you're playing him on original Nintendo. Bloop, 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 bloop. You have just as much say-so as he does. He's subjected to that simulation no matter how much he wants to be real. He doesn't. He's not that advanced, but even if he did, you can't make him real. So yeah, if we're forced to this and then we're forced to that, we ain't got no say-so in none of this shit anyways.
No one graduates. The death, memory erase, reincarnation process goes on and on. The galaxy and universe you inhabit is a computer-driven simulation. What you know as deep space is only projected by the Matrix when observed by a conscious being. New Age propaganda has done and continues to do enormous damage on humanity. The saddest part is that very good spiritual people are its worst victims. These humans are seen as prime suckers by the Archon hierarchy. These humans then go into agreement of brutally cruel and sadistic soul contracts and think it is giving them soul growth. The only thing these ridiculous and embarrassing soul contracts do is create the perfect slave for louche energy production that is harvested by evil psychotic archons and the satanic demiurge. Hell is the lower astral. I have been there and you may have also. It is the land of nightmares. When someone has a brutally horrific nightmare, it is likely they drifted into that realm. I have gone there through astral projection and it was horrible. Deceased murderers.
I spent the majority of my childhood in hell. Every single fucking night I had a nightmare. And I mean, I don't know if that is a trait of abuse children, but whatever, I had horrible nightmares every single night. And in every single dream, the moment that I became conscious, or you could say lucid, and I would realize in the dream, this is a dream in my mind, we could say, and I never spoke it. The second that I would realize it, every entity in my dream would all stop and look at me. Every time there could be my whole family. It could be a nice dream. We could have all just been laughing and happy. But the second I realized this is a dream, everybody would look at me, and I would know. I don't know how I would know it, but I would know in that moment that if I say it, they're going to eat me. And I fucking did it a few times, so I know. I'd say this is a dream, and they would all turn into monsters and eat me, and I would yell from my yaya to wake me up. I was always when I was a child, I was in the same room with my yaya, and she would always wake me up every time. I would call out to my yaya in my nightmares, and she would wake me up every time. So the way to get out of my nightmares, I would just close my eyes and yell out to my yaya, and I could still feel them like ripping my guts out and all that. But every night I had these nightmares, and I was abused as a kid too. So it's like, man, why didn't my brain give me dreams or angels, something happy? But it was weird too, because even if I had a dream, just as it was about to get good, the alarm would go off or somebody would wake me up for school. Every time it's like, man, why do my dreams, the ones that are going to get good, always line up exactly right to where I get woken up out of them just before they're good? It's like this weird, it created this desperate feeling in me for just wanting something good to happen to me. It made me feel so desperate as a child. Man, there were a lot of things feeding off me. Looking back at reality now as a kid, like the way I was brought up, the way it all happened, it's like, man, I wonder who the fuck was I before they put me in this fucking thing, though? Why'd they do all this to me? Because they're fucking demonic, low-level monsters, that's why.
Molesters, psychopaths, and the extremely violent choose to go there. They are attracted to it. There is also a higher astral. It looks like the heaven humans are taught. It has incredible colors and beautiful landscapes. No one resides there. It is used for programming purposes only. The extremely clean, living, deeply religious human, as well the people who are having the near-death experience, are brought to the higher astral for advertising. Some are even shown ridiculous images of God on his throne. They are shown around and given a taste of its splendors. They are then told they are not yet worthy to stay in the kingdom of heaven. The person in the NDE is told to go back. This programmed person returns to their body and later spews out endless advertising for religious beliefs and coerces people to enter the white light trap. The deceased human who was shown this ridiculous con job is then completely fixated on reincarnation and returning to the Earth School. What a joke. It is beyond
in one of my meditations, I had this image sort of broadcasted into my mind of this dude wearing a wreath around his head, kind of like how Jesus would look with the crown of thorns type shit, but it just looked like a wreath. I don't know if it had thorns. It looked like a fucking Christmas wreath. Around his head, he had shorter hair, curly hair, and he was wearing one of them Roman type shit robes or whatever. I think he had sandals on, and he had a staff, and he had his hand out to me. And he was at the peak of some mountain that looked like the mountain in the fucking Lion King or whatever, where they held up Simba, just like that, like a spike peak mountain. And in the background, there was a beautiful kingdom-looking city, like Disneyland looking, like domed. It looked like Disney World, just like that. And he was sort of like reaching out to me to come to his kingdom. And looking back in hindsight, the way he felt, how warm it was, how welcoming, the love I felt, blah, blah, it was very alluring. If in that moment I could have jumped in that realm and left this one, I would have. And just to give you an example of what these things can do to you. Now, looking back in hindsight, I don't trust what happened to me. It's like, man, if there was something loving, man, be loving then. Why is this realm still so fucked up? Where are you at for real, for real? You just like want to pretend to be loving? It's always some fucking flashing image. Fuck you. You're a demon and we're in hell. You lying, deceptive motherfuckers, what you did to us. what you continue to do to us, I'll kill you all on the other side. I'll kill every one of you. I'm going to eat your hearts on the other side.
Sir, that humans are stupid enough to fall for this scam. Most people are very good people who have tried hard to survive in this world. You think about how hard humans have worked to help each other. All of this hard work is not rewarded. After death, the human is still enslaved. There is no rest. The Archons and the Demiurge want everything. To get this, they created the reincarnation scam. The self-declared God of this world is pure evil. It has used all of us. Humans have fought and died in wars for nothing. All of the suffering in this world is feasted upon by psychotic Archons and the satanic Demiurge. Good people work hard their whole lives. They deserve pure happiness after physical death. Instead, they get a martial law afterlife and eventually get forced to reincarnate. It is not enough for the Demiurge to cause suffering worldwide. This crazed parasite won't even let deceased humans rest after death. It actually forced people to reincarnate again and again. The time has come to end this madness. Question: when the person's memories are erased, are they lost forever or are they somewhere in the unconscious, subconscious? Answer: the images and memories still exist within the deep subconscious. Sometimes pieces of these memories leak into the dream state and the conscious mind. The Archons are wiping the conscious mind and have basically perfected the process through practice on millions of human victims. They cannot wipe the subconscious, but really do not need to, because the majority of humans are mostly disconnected from the subconscious and completely fixated on the projected reality they see out there. Memory erase is the key to the enslavement of humanity. If people have complete access to the memory of the pre-reincarnation period, they would rebel and end this madness.
Man, it's got me invested though, doesn't it? I wonder how many of us it's going to take to defeat this system on our righteous path. I wonder how many of us it's going to take. 200, 300, 3,000? Is it going to take 3 million? How many conscious souls is it going to take to override this system? And then once we override it, how do we know we're not still in the fucking matrix?
This is why the Archons had to create the whole karmic debt and Earth School scams. This enabled them to get their victims to agree to memory erase in belief that it was essential for their soul growth. This brutally psychotic scam has been unchallenged for a long time. New Age programming has taken over for religious-based mind control in molding and solidifying the perfect victims who in their ignorance actually praise and kneel to their oppressors. The Archons are known for telling some of their victims, "It is your choice," in the early stages of the afterlife period. Humans are then under the assumption they are not forced. This is followed by constant long-term programming to break down the targeted human and to destroy any resistance and self-determination. The deceased human is relentlessly told they made mistakes, to the point the human is so beaten down that they view themselves as unworthy. The targeted human has been prepped for the soul contract scam. Almost all humans are fully broken and mind-controlled at that point. They are manipulated to the point of thinking that reincarnation can save them. There are exceptions and some will not give in. The Archons force these people into the memory erase horror and reinsert them into slavery. The whole choice thing is another one of their scams to keep the slaves in line and avoid dissent. We are all inside of a huge, incredibly advanced virtual reality. This universe is a simulation. Most of ancient history never happened. It is an ancestral simulation. Gods and saviors are literally myths. The Bible is the equivalent of a comic book. Unfortunately, people have based their existence upon fiction.
Doesn't that make as sad and unfortunate and horrible and scary and whatever else it could be that news is? Doesn't that make more sense when you're a truther, when you actually observe real history and like really question it? Like, this is a simulation? There is no actual history. It's all just bullshit. Make more sense to you than what they told us? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. As scary as the thought as that is, all history's a lie, and none of it actually makes it. That makes more sense to me now that I've been on the truth path, you could say, looking at history.
My true origins are the same as every...
Actually questioning, history, not just being a fucking gobbling idiot.
Everyone else trapped in this simulated hellhole.
Non-thinking fucking, I don't know what they're calling anymore. We call them NPCs on this fucking channel.
We are all originally from the real free universe. There are no opportunities. Humans are used as slaves. There is nothing to gain. This entire simulation is a free-range slave pen used to create low vibrational energy, which is consumed by satanic parasites who pose as higher beings. Jesus. Reincarnation is the absolute worst thing anyone can do. Its purpose is to continue enslavement. There is no live and learn. That is an Archon scam that has been used to brutalize humanity. Thinking that some being created you promotes subservience and enslavement. The targeted human is being conditioned to accept the usage of multiple lives.
Thinking that some being created you immediately. Like, think about the original idea of there being a God being put onto the consciousness of you. It's a great shackle, baby, isn't it? Because, man, it's like it puts you in this state where you are second to something else. Something else created me. And you're taught in every way through your whole life and programmed to always be subservient to something else. It makes sure this whole reality is structured in a way. Right from the way you're produced, and you have parents, and then you have teachers, and then you have a boss, and then you have the whole shit's constructed way to keep you in a constant state of that. It wants you all fucked up on when you get to the other side. Ready, already programmed to be a good little bitch on the other realm. One sec, guys. Yeah, guys. Like, I mean, this shit is so fucking unbelievable, man. If any of this shit is true, bro, can you imagine? It's gonna break Christians. It's gonna break Catholics. It's gonna break Jews. It's gonna break Muslims. It's gonna break everybody's soul. Everybody's gonna end up some subservient slave to some tyrannical system. And how many is it gonna take? How many is it gonna take to wake up the souls? And again, if we wake them all up, how do we know we're not still in the Matrix? It's gonna take 144,000 conscious souls. And if that information's in the reality, it's reality. What, you think it doesn't know that? Like everybody online saying it, and oh, it was in the Bible, the same book used to indoctrinate people to get people to come back into this fucking reality, so because they believe in Jesus and God and all that bullshit. It's like, come on, man. You can't tell this place is trying to fuck you. Yeah. Man, come on, just fucking be logical, for Christ's sakes. Who the fuck would subject you to a realm like this and then constantly be like, yeah, oh, I love you, boy. Yeah, just be a good boy while you're down there in hell. Just be, oh, I strong, I'll keep you. Oh, I love you. I love you. Did that ever make sense to anybody? Be fucking logical, you goddamn stupid, stuck brain, motherfucking indoctrinated fucking retards with your goddamn shackles. Your fucking religion's a goddamn spiritual limitation to your eternal fucking soul, you goddamn brainwashed fucking retard. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Well, I mean, not so much anymore, but I mean, man, that religion stuck on me for years after I was done being Christian. Years, a decade, longer. I mean, now I'm truly seeing what's happening. Like, man, this shit's, it's a little weird. That's sadistic and weird. Who the fuck would subject somebody to a fucking reality like this one where you could be an animal, another animal could rip your guts out, whatever. You could end up in a hospital bed and breathing out some straw. It's like, man, and then like they're like, yeah, but if you're so good, I love you. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Whose realm is this? When we meet God, does he ride in on a fucking tricycle? Want to play a game? Like, what does God look like, man? Is he like fucking? Anyways, dude, like, what kind of God are we talking about? It would suggest people to this warring slave realm and this stagnant Groundhog's Day of suffering. Yeah, there's some sort of loving entity. Man, no, there ain't. No, there ain't. And if there is, it's you. And so we should do something about this shit. Instead of waiting for some fucking invisible motherfucker to come in from nowhere to fucking do this shit.
This person is being used for loosh production in a dream state and being set up for the.
And I'm mad about it because I feel like, man, it's too far gone now. Just more helplessness, more loosh, whatever, more to get me. Oh, it's becoming more conscious. Let's reveal this truth to it, and then it'll suffer more. Then it'll be conscious and trained. Oh, fuck this reality.
Acceptance of reincarnation. There is nothing to overcome. This is the same life lessons bullshit that enslaved humanity. In this scenario, it has been shrewdly played by the Archons. They instill a sense of bravado the target foolishly gets pumped up onto to face a challenge. How absurd. Cameron Day has talked about very similar experiences. He was targeted by the Archons at a young age and got fed the same lame script. He was sent on numerous quests and missions to overcome doubts and fear that held him back in previous lives. The Archons are incredibly skilled at manipulation. It is their specialty. They regularly approach with this ridiculous scam, and it usually works fantastic for them. They deeply program and mind control a human and also harvest dense low vibrational energy in the process. Question: in my dreams, I am gaining supernatural abilities. I am tying this with astral traveling. What are your thoughts? Answer: what you are experiencing is quite fantastic. You are actually using the dream realm for significant worthwhile training. I know exactly what you are doing, as I do the same. Using the dream realm to develop these abilities is a huge advantage. If you can eventually get yourself into the afterlife, you will be a force to be reckoned with. These abilities are illegal in the afterlife and are what the Archons fear most. If developed and utilized by a resistance force, these abilities can overthrow the Archons. I call the deceased humans who work for the Archons sellout thugs. When they are certain someone is a living astral traveler, these thugs panic. They are told very clearly that the living are never to be allowed.
Guys, every once in a while, like I say, if you pay attention to, I say this all the time, I've been saying it for like 5 years, if you pay close attention to your thoughts, well, first off, you'll realize there's some sort of mind. There's this, that your brain really don't always just work for you when you, the way you want it to. It's sometimes it really just works against you. Well, not all the time. It just works against you all the time. But like Marzinski would say, sometimes weird thoughts will jump in my mind. And one just jumped in my mind that made me think, what the fuck am I thinking about? It's like, that's not me. Like, the thought that jumped in my mind is not me. And it was like just a horrible thought. It's like, where do they come from? Where do they come from? I mean, the thought was kind of related to what we're doing here. It was related in Astral. I don't even want to talk about it because we're so disgusting. But it's like, where the fuck would that thought have come from? I mean, I literally believe, and I know it sounds crazy, that there are entities we can't see on some sort of different spectrum or something that have access to us, that can influence our minds. They can sort of whisper in our ear, in our subconscious mind, so we believe it's our thoughts. I truly believe that. That happens in humanity all the time.
To speak with.
If you see that a dude's fucking pissed off, oh, it's because he's angry. He's manifesting things that piss him off. No, it's because whatever loves him being angry is feeding off it. So it's going to get his coworker to do something to make him more angry. It's going to get the guy in front of him in traffic to cut him off to get him more angry. It's going to do this to him, and then he's going to have one of those days. How do those days happen? That doesn't seem random. That almost seems scripted. How come it's always scripted to piss us the fuck off or make us suffer? It's never scripted to make us happy and good. Maybe if you sell your soul in your asshole to Satan, maybe it would be, but I ain't doing that. Not the God of this realm. The God of this realm's a fucking demon. And he is a sort of Satan if there is one.
With the deceased.
I'm not interested in hanging
there are
out with
endless
that
amounts
scum.
of these thugs. It is the biggest source of employment in the afterlife. They will try to assault and capture the living traveler. One of them shot me in the arm with an advanced energy weapon. The pain was excruciating, and I still felt in moments later upon returning to the physical. It is fascinating you are using your mental power to persuade beings in the dream realm. This is a real ability. The previously mentioned astral thugs have often tried to hit me with billy clubs, bats and metal pipes. Using what I call the Jedi mind trick, I have made them hit themselves on numerous occasions. It is somewhat similar to telekinesis, but you use intent to make it happen. I find the pineal gland area between the eyebrows flexes like a muscle when doing this. In this physical world, I am a kind and caring gentleman. I seek true peace for all beings. In the astral afterlife, rough confrontation is absolutely necessary.
So he's saying in this astral realm, we have a sort of ability that's kept out of us and beaten out of us, and where they could go to swing a bat at you, and with your mind power, you would sway it to make him hit himself. It's like, how does he know? First off, how does he know that what he's dealing with aren't entities manifested by him in his solo realm or detached realm or whatever it is his by himself manifested realities? How does he know he's not the one manifesting these people? I guess the answer would be, if you did it, if you astral projected every night and you kept going back into these same realms and it wasn't random, you weren't like on night 2 you were in pink bunny rabbit realm where all the big pink bunny rabbits jump around and they scoop up humans and cuddle them to death, and then on day 3 he was in whatever. It could be just totally random, but no, it's every time he's going back to these same realms. That would kind of tell you something, that these realms have a location, but his soul is being forced there. Like, does he have no say-so of where his soul goes at all?
Necessary. Telekinesis is my primary form of defense, and it is incredibly powerful, but must be regularly developed.
But yeah, he's saying you can use telekinesis to make people like that would swing a bat at you hit themselves, and it feels like you're flexing your third eye when you do it, which is weird. This is something I used to actually do in my meditations, and actually when I try, which is funny because when I would practice telekinesis in reality, I would try to move things with my mind. That's what it felt like. But I don't have the ability. I've tried it a lot. I've tried it a lot, but
I have thrown huge objects
at least 20 times.
The deceased barely know it even exists because it is considered illegal and is seriously punished. Therefore, it is rarely, if ever, seen by the deceased. I did meet one deceased guy who was very skilled at telekinesis. He told me he trained himself when he was alive by playing Star Wars, The Force Unleashed, and Force Unleashed 2 video games. If done on a large television, the mind considers it so lifelike it becomes similar to real telekinesis training. Flying can be more difficult.
Guys, if what he's saying is true, then the people creating VR are actually the good guys. This dude practiced telekinesis by playing on a big screen and playing Star Wars The Force Unvolved or Evolved or whatever he said. So VR gamers are actually going to be the ones that save us from this realm. They're going to be so used to being like Jedi guys for playing games and shit. They're going to jump in the Astral and just destroy these dudes, probably.
Consider it a huge achievement if you can do this with ease. Floating is very similar and much easier. I have floated up about 20 feet off the ground to escape sellout thugs on many occasions. Most of the very famous experts in astral travel and the institutes are now under the control of the three-letter agency. They are no longer mentioning Archons. One of them, who is very famous and previously talked about Archons and the control system, has started heavily promoting the fun afterlife. And
But you know what's funny is I'd be lying if part of me wasn't excited. I'm not gonna lie. I hate this reality. I do wish it was like some, but I can't wait to fucking, my whole life I've been waiting to get my hands on one of these demons or whatever. It's like, you're telling me when I die, like I have access to these thugs and fucking pieces of shits all the time. It's tyrannical. I can't wait to take these motherfuckers over and destroy them and defeat them. But then again, you say, well, you could be like, well, Chris, you're just being in the Matrix. It's like, brother, if you know another way to be, let me know about it. I will get on that path with you.
Reincarnation and Earth School scams. As this type of truth begins to be found by the public, you will see more control and disinfo coming from previously trusted sources. The satanic global elite do the bidding of their Archon masters. The Archons demand shutting down the human awakening. The reptilians are
and there are a lot of, I will say, there are a lot of people questioning this now. This theory is becoming mainstream. Like soul trap theory is becoming mainstream. This goes a little past soul trap. This is like double soul trapped. It's like not only you're trapped in this motherfucker, but when you leave, you're trapped again. It's like great. This is the fucking double soul trap fucking theory.
Fortunately very real. I have seen them up close twice. They are the enforcers, who are the muscle within the Archon hierarchy. They are horribly violent and psychotic. Reptilians completely despise humans. Question: in a video they talked about 24 layers of the astral. Are there really that many? How are they different? Answer: I have only heard about and seen 3 layers. The lower astral is the land of nightmares and is populated by deceased humans who resonate with violence and psychotic behavior. The middle astral is the afterlife. It looks the same as our physical dimension with houses and buildings. The upper astral is the fake kingdom of heaven. It looks beautiful and is used to con the deeply religious and extremely clean living. It is almost always shown to people having a near-death experience. The targeted human is always told they're not yet worthy to stay in the kingdom of heaven. This is total bullshit. It is a complete Archon scam. Comment: souls are getting shock treatment. The result of these massive electrical shocks is complete memory wipe. Answer: this was a very big topic recently on the Reddit astral projection sub. Numerous people saw this brutal horror being done during astral travel. These people were individuals and had traveled into the astral afterlife on separate occasions. Each one of these astral travelers were able to sneak into an afterlife area that is considered completely off limits. What they saw was beyond horrifying. Deceased humans were strapped down and had electrodes attached to them. They deceased are subjected to a series of sadistic and brutal massive electrical shocks to erase all memories to prepare the human victim for reincarnation into slavery.
Oh my god, dude. Like, you guys hearing what this motherfucker's saying? Jesus fucking criminy crickets. Like, if this shit is true, again, like, this could be just some Looney Tune fucking, but I'll say from, unfortunately, from my own personal research, there's actually quite a few people that would agree with him. And what's weird is they always use this, and I said this before, like this machine language, like the AI Archon simulation entities, like they always use this like machine language. You're in a simulation, and it's just like, what the fuck's happening?
Those who fight the process are subjected to more and more horribly intense sessions of this psychotic torture until they are completely broken and all memory has been erased from the human victim. Once again, the so-called higher beings who demand this horribly cruel procedure are parasitic Satanists. They are the psychotic evil Archons who have manipulated and herded humanity into endless slavery. You are their victims. Most aliens originate in the astral dimension. They have technology that allows them to open a portal for travel into the astral. Many victims of alien abduction talk about how the place they were in seemed very different and had a dreamlike quality to it. This is because many abduction victims are brought back into the astral dimension. Grey aliens are seen often by astral travelers. Reptilians are also seen. The video I posted a few days ago went into significant detail about how people involved in the CIA Project Gateway study on astral travel saw the reptilians most often during those experiences. That video was completely removed from the internet after it was posted on this thread. No one can find it anywhere. It got too much attention and was quickly removed by the NWO. It was previously available on many sites and it now erased from the internet. Some have said that a cube is the Archon spacecraft known as the New Jerusalem.
If anybody knows that video, link it to me.
During experimentation with altered states, they woke up in a tube similar to the one Neo was in the first Matrix movie. 2 different people told me they were approached a tall mantis-type alien who angrily said, "You will be punished. Go back to sleep." They were then repeatedly shocked with a strange device somewhat similar to a cattle prod. I'm not saying their experiences are real, but I got emails from 2 different people from 2 different websites who had the same bizarre experience. After physical death, all humans are forced to attend regular sessions with counselors. These counselors are deceased humans who are completely mind-controlled to serve the Archon agenda. They completely believe in the insidious karmic debt and Earth School scams. These counselors constantly tell the deceased human target that they made life mistakes, and these mistakes created karmic debt. They will say this karmic debt created energetic imprints that must be balanced and removed. The counselors are mostly good people who are completely mind-controlled. They actually think they are promoting the divine plan. What they actually do is enormous damage to all of humanity. After many years, the targeted deceased human becomes defeated and is broken down to accept the fake karmic debt. The human is told they will be given another chance in the Earth School to repay this karmic debt. This is the cruelest and most evil scam. It is used on all deceased humans. The targeted human is now presented with soul contracts. They are told to agree to these.
He's saying it's very regimented. It's very that there's 3 realms pretty much. That there's a low realm. That's the hell realm. That's where you go when you have nightmares. That's where you'll see the most. I've been in every single one of these realms he's talking about. Even after my meditations, I had experienced a realm like this once that was bizarre. Anyways, well, I guess I should tell the experience, but it was just weird. I was being tormented by these entities, and who I was, I don't know. It's almost as if this entity became more and more dehydrated and weak and brittle and beat up. And these entities were just torturing me and laughing about it. And I had gained enough power to lift my head up in consciousness. And they had this mirror in front of me to show me what I had succumbed to, that basically to torture me further, so I could see what had happened to me. And I had kind of looked at the mirror and seen that I was basically, there was almost nothing left of me. I was this worm-looking type creature, and my face was very small on the worm head looking, and I was lifting my head up, and they were just torturing me and laughing like it was a bizarre fucking nightmarish experience. And I had one where that was weird, where I sort of came conscious. I became conscious in a sort of big rusty cage. It looked like a big rusty bird cage out in like a barnyard or something. It looked like a bird cage, like just an old shitty rusty barnyard rusty cage. And I don't know what the hell that meant, but these were from meditation, by the way. That one where I was experiencing being tormented happened from a meditation. Actually, I can't remember if that happened from a minute. Now, honestly, I can't say that honestly. Actually, that may have happened in a nightmare, because I don't remember going into that meditation. If I'm being totally honest, I think that happened from a meditation, but I clearly remember the experience, and it was just. It was. I know I explained it. It probably didn't make sense, but man, it was traumatizing. From my point of view, it was traumatizing. It was just like the worst thing I could ever experience in my life. And they were. I mean, imagine seeing a nice, good person being tortured endlessly. Like they're already down, but they're still beating them while they're down, and beating them and beating them and beating them and laughing, and everybody around them is laughing and jumping on their head and stomping on their head and stomping their head and laughing, and the one that's happening to is the good person out of all of them. It's just like and I was the one that was happening to by these entities, and they had basically drained my old existence down to a withered nothingness worm of what I used to be. It was just bizarre and weird, but traumatizing. I woke up out of that one just traumatized, literally traumatized, like almost like an abuse as a child type shit happening.
Saying soul contracts to create soul growth. The truth is there is no soul growth. There are no lessons. It is all a psychotic scam to create slaves. Before the human victim is reincarnated into slavery, they are subjected to the brutally horrific memory erase process. During this process, the deceased human is strapped down and implanted with electrodes. They are subjected to a long series of brutal shocks during this psychotic procedure. Some will fight but are basically tortured until they are broken down. This is unfortunately really happening. All deceased humans are subjected to this insane cruelty to prepare them for reincarnation into enslavement. Question: how goes the progress in the astral? Is there a war at all going on? Answer: the progress is slow. It is very difficult. The Archons have a huge amount of deceased humans who work for them. These security thugs pound on any human who questions the system. Because of this, most of the deceased are scared shitless and do not do anything. The afterlife I am visiting was explored by Robert Monroe.
All right then. Are you guys ready to fucking develop your damn psychic powers and start fucking these dudes up? I don't, bro. There are human souls that sell their asses to this fucking system that torments human souls. Dude, I'm gonna kill all these things. If it takes me a trillion lifetimes, I'm going to develop my skills enough to where when I show up, it's going to be like God Himself showed up.
A long time before I got there. All deceased humans who do not escape this simulation end up there. Deceased humans have different levels of mind control. Those who are programmed to accept New Age beliefs get the worst scenarios. Sadly, these are usually very nice people. New Age programming is the worst. Its primary belief is that reincarnation is for lessons and soul growth. This is 100% bullshit. There is no lessons or soul growth. Those who are programmed by New Age beliefs are presented with soul contracts. These soul contracts are a cruel scam. Anyone who agrees to accept one of these insane contracts is completely screwed. These absurd soul contracts say the human is accepting a brutal lifetime that can include violence, molestation, torture, and even human sacrifice. The targeted human is told these brutal hardships are perfect for lessons and soul growth. Once again, this is a complete scam. These hardships are used to maximize loosh energy production from the targeted human. Seances, channelings, and the Ouija board are always communication with demonic archons. The archon...
You have to go back to grow into what? To grow into what? Like what? Somebody that walks around elegantly, never says a curse word, always has the right thing to say. Then finally, when you become this scripted type thing that you never were, then they go, oh, yay, now you can come into heaven. But it's like, motherfucker, if you would have subjected me to a heaven type realm, I would have became this nice, happy person sooner. Why'd you subject me to hell realm earth to get me to turn into this, the opposite of it? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. To learn what? How to not curse? Or to how to not be mean and bully people? Like, what are people supposed to learn here? And my goodness, if you're like 20 and you haven't learned those things, it's like, golly, maybe you really do belong in the fucking like dookie boy realm. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that simple shit, like forgiving lifts a weight off you. It's like, man, everybody learns this shit. Come on. What else is there to learn here? Why are they? You would think if with all these souls being sent back to go through this suffering realm, they would have sent every single one of them back with a tip. Like, oh, by the way, you're growing into this. Or, oh, by the way, you're learning this. That would save us a lot of heartache. Or, I don't know, just communicate with us directly. If that's our goal here, you fucking weirdos. Why would you wait until somebody OD'd on heroin and tell them, oh, by the way, you're going back and you got a mission? Got a mission. Why didn't you tell me when I was still alive? You waited for me to die? That's when you told me that makes no sense. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. When are we going to stop being stupid little fucking mice? Stupid little fucking mouse-minded, dumb, easy to manipulate and control fucking retarded humans.
Archons often pretend to be spirit guides or positive beings but are usually exposed at some point. My mindset is not affecting anything. Other people around the world have been doing this much longer than me. They come from many different backgrounds and have all seen the afterlife as extremely controlled. Wes Penray, August Telle, Cameron Day all come from different backgrounds and have different mindsets. They, as well as others, all have viewed the afterlife and its controllers as negative and extremely evil. I wish it was different. I always thought heaven would be total peace and beauty. That was my belief system going into this. Therefore, I had no negative programming beforehand. I have been completely shocked at what has been seen. Or angels.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even finish my point. But yeah, he's saying it's very regimented. There's a hell realm, a middle realm where the tyrannical control is, and then an upper realm that's just a pretend or illusion that you get promised to be able to go to if you ever get out of the tormenting hell, spirit realm, earth realm area of all of it. What the fuck are we talking about, bro? I'm going to kill all these fucking things.
Archons in disguise. In the afterlife, the beings who claim to be the heavenly ancient, ascended masters are complete scammers. They wear beautiful shiny robes and some even sit on thrones. The truth is that they are pure evil. Or
fuck your robes. Robes are used in this reality to give an appearance of importance. But it's a little blue outfit with a silly little gold badge on it or whatever. You know, it's a I don't know, a wig and a stupid fucking robe or what else? Oh yeah, it's a white coat. We use robes and man, fuck all your guys. It's fucking potential bullshit ass. I feel so important. Man, you are corny. All you are corny ass people. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm sorry. I do like calling people like that fucking corny because that's an aspect of the human avatar that controls people. I feel important, like this fucking importance thing that the human avatar does. It's so disgusting to me.
All of it is for
You even see it, security guards at the mall. It's like, bro, chill. Like, bro, why you have to get that serious with like this 12-year-old? Like he's playing with a yo-yo. Fucking weirdo.
the show to scam the deceased. The NDE is also a complete scam. Karma and karmic debt is fake. The Archons are known to tell the extremely stupid, who are New Age mind-controlled, that they owe karmic debt from multiple previous lives and must agree to take on a brutally difficult reincarnation to balance and pay off this debt. This is all total bullshit. It is cruel scam done to very good people who are mind-controlled by religion and New Age beliefs. Aliens have advanced tech that allows them to travel into the astral and back. The UFO and its occupants change the vibratory rate to accomplish this. It is said the NWO now has this tech as well. I have seen military troops and vehicles in the astral. I wondered if these were deceased humans or actually special ops who can cross over. I collect very old esoteric books. Many of these were written by secret society initiates. The knowledge was actually more open 100 years ago than now. The Astral Brotherhood is mentioned quite often in arcane, esoteric literature. My opinion about Robert Monroe did not write that book, Ultimate Journey. The CIA completely took over his research. They had a ghostwriter author the book. They also currently operate the Monroe Institute. The celebrity-level master of astral projection, which I don't mention, is running the show there. Years ago, he was very vocal about the brutal Archons and their agenda. Now he has done a complete 180 and constantly says,
I'll say his name because I don't give a fuck. His name's Tom Campbell. He's one of those dead-eyed fucking, I don't know how to explain it. Actually, I think I'm becoming one of the damn dead-eyed. Another, shout out to Nonconformist Radio 2. Heart goes out to him. Sorry you're doing what you're doing with over there, brother. I know it probably wasn't easy to watch. But anyways, yeah, he's one of that. I don't know, where they just kind of don't seem alive anymore. That scares me. I don't want to become that either, but I am kind of becoming one of the fucking dead-eyed. My damn self, like becoming so damn desensitized to this fucking reality. But he talks about all kinds of shit, but he does dismiss the loose thing. He tries to dismiss it every time it's brought up. He won't take it serious, which I just think's weird. It's like, dude, just talk about it a little bit. You may not agree with it. You may be like, oh no, I just think Bob had a weird moment. Okay, well, explain better than that. Don't be so brief about it and then just move on to the next subject text. No, that's just wrong. Well, what makes you say it's wrong? Because there's quite a few people saying it now. There's quite a few people saying it now. But then again, is it a thought that infects the mind of the individual? Then the individual becomes the one that manifests these in their astral projections or their solo mission as a spirit.
Afterlife is great. Earth is a school for life lessons. Robert Monroe would be horrified to see what has become of his work. The satanic global elite are always many steps ahead. They know exactly how to manipulate things. The New Age agenda is going to be the focus point of the upcoming worldwide NWO religion. The insidious Earth School and reincarnation scams will be taught to the public. People stay at the Institute and pay huge money for their courses. They have a very famous master of astral projection who teaches there. He constantly now spouts the Earth School and heaven is great scams. That really shocked me. He used to talk about the evil Archons. Now he seems to have completely forgotten about them. My theory is they do not want the Gateway Reptilian video out here. Imagine if someone shows up at the Institute or at one of their huge seminars and asks about this as well as Loosh. They would be horrified if someone mentioned actual Gateway experiments that contacted reptilians. My guess is hardly any of these current Gateway teachers and practitioners even know about the reptilians or Loosh. It is all New Age programming instead. The elite are in overdrive right now trying to contain the awakening of humanity. The original recordings by Monroe are the Holy Grail. Very few of those real Gateway recordings still exist. They are definitely safe, and from what I have been told absolutely work, and create spectacular results. The NWO has neutered the currently available version. They turned a powerful vehicle for transformation into New Age relaxation nonsense. Question, tell me more about King Midas like beer. Answer, there is a large frat house located a few blocks from Mall World. I went to numerous wild parties there a few years ago. The building is still there, but the group of people who resided there have moved to other areas in the astral. The people living there now are very boring. When I went to the parties there, everyone was extremely friendly. It was basically drink huge amounts of King Midas beer, which seems to be the only beer everyone drinks. There was many beautiful women and everyone was fun and respectful. Most interesting.
All right, guys, sorry about that. It's been a minute, but I got interrupted on a day where there's literally nothing that could interrupt me, but you know how that goes. Anyways, let's get back to it.
Most interesting was I would get completely drunk there, but be totally sober back in the physical dimension, although very tired. Several blocks from the frat house is a bizarre and incredibly grotesque complex known as the Evil Hospital, also known as Hospital World. It contains numerous huge hospital buildings that are connected. Most astral travelers comment on the weird elevators that come from the complex and go in many different directions. The hospital is extremely disturbing. Brutally horrifying experiments are being performed throughout the large buildings. It finally became clear to me last night during astral travel. The overcoming of fear in the dream state were a major factor in this realization. I was being chased by a group of Astral security thugs. I stopped and turned around. At that point I shouted, I am God. I am the true God. I am the creator of this world. I forgot who I was and your leaders took control. They completely stopped in their tracks. They looked absolutely confused. Some of them actually looked scared, while a few looked very angry and were screaming, let's get him. They had certainly never seen anything like this before. I was totally pumped up with energy. I decided to go all out and really make a strong declaration. I said, I am the true God. I am the true creator. At that point I got really dramatic and screamed, you will kneel in my presence. You will kneel to the true God. They turned around and ran away. It is possible they were only confused, but I could feel the energy during this. I then understood, you do not need the one to save you. You do not need to escape and seek refuge in the one. With all of your being...
All right, guys, a little bit of good news, right? Like, if what he just said was true, he basically stood in his fucking power. Bitch, I'm God. That's what he basically. And the first time he said it, some of them got scared. The other ones said, let's get him anyways. So that showed right off the bat there was something weird about if you claim to be God, they get scared. They get nervous. They can't take a chance with you. They don't know if you're telling the truth or something, it seems like, or this is more deception to keep us in the play of the good and evil fight or whatever.
Being you truly remember who you are and realize the one is you. The astral should be a place of fun and exploration. That is what it was for me in the beginning. I would be exploring astral cities, going into the bars and nightclubs. I was just minding my business and not looking for trouble. Then as I started talking to and hanging out with deceased people, I noticed many would become very scared when I told them I was still alive. It soon became...
This sounds fun to me. So I'm going to hang out at bars with fucking deceased, I don't know, Sublime lead singers playing their new dead people tunes. And I'm going to practice my telekinesis while I hang out in these cities, these astral realm cities for a while. I'm going to practice my telekinesis until I build up a masterful ability at it. And I'm going to try to retaliate in some kind of way.
Came clear why they were scared. I started getting approached by the astral law enforcement goons. They are asshole psychopaths. They told me to never communicate with the deceased. When I asked why not, they answered me with billy clubs and relentless force. The truth became clear when some of the astral counselors told me straight up they worship Satan. This seemed insane. Some of those deceased humans in supervisory positions within the Archon hierarchy are so arrogant they proudly admit they worship and work for the satanic demiurge. I now realize the only way to respond to these maniacs is by declaring yourself as the true God. Telling them you are the eternal creator. If they do not respect that, then physical confrontation in the astral is necessary. People stay the same in the astral. There is no aging for anyone in the afterlife. Eating food is done by choice, but is not necessary. From what I have seen, the very young are watched over by mostly teenagers. Deceased humans aged 18 to 35 seem completely out of control. They are mostly focused on constant romantic encounters with different people, various forms of intoxication, and physical violence with each other. I have found males in this age category to be extremely difficult to communicate with due to their volatile and ludicrous behavior.
What else would they be interested in doing?
People need to understand. You will eventually meet these astral psychopaths. After physical death, if you do not escape the simulation, you will have to deal with them. It is better to train your mind now in advance. A few years ago, I spoke with someone who was from the Southwest USA. He said he had sought out both Mexican curandero shamans and Native American medicine men. He spent considerable periods with each on his vision quest. During this period, he was experimenting with many Native American and Mexican herbs and also the Native American sweat lodge. During this exploration, he said he communicated directly with a consciousness that calls itself the architect, and that this is the Matrix AI. This architect told him that humans choose to worship. Therefore, they are victims to be exploited. About 10 years ago, I began seeing regular signs of this in the afterlife. It was very confusing at first, as this went against all we are told by earth-based religions. As time went on, I began speaking with the deceased more and more. There was then no doubt at that point. The real shocker came about 5 years ago, as I was speaking directly to an afterlife counselor who confirmed all of it was completely true. This guy was very arrogant and confidant of the divine plan. He told me the full truth and held nothing back. He said that all human choices and actions form energetic imprints which create the karmic debt. When I said that would mean the horrible cruelty and savage enslavement by the Archons would make them more karma than anyone in existence. Upon hearing this, he became incredibly angry and violent. He had nothing else to say because he knew I was aware of the scam. The Archon's whole scam is based upon karma. People in the afterlife to have jobs. Musicians, bartenders, strippers, etc. The most common employment in the afterlife.
One sec, guys. I'm going to cut this off and hope that this storm passes over real quick. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Next day, totally different energy, but we're going to continue watching this thing. I think this is where we left off.
Life is law enforcement and security. They are all over the place. Some of them are good people who got conned. Others openly accept the Archon agenda and brutally beat the shit out of anyone who questions authority or gets out of line. So yes, it is very possible that will influence the career choice in the next enslaved lifetime. People frequently change races. This is because the Archons like to put humans who accept the con job into lifetimes that will maximize loosh energy production. There are border regions, but people can go where they like, as long as they do not question authority or the Archon agenda. Be very careful, as people from India are known to reincarnate much quicker than others. The Indian people are very good people. Unfortunately, most get easily conned into agreement of karma and the karmic debt and earth school scams. The deceased human is subjected to long-term programming from the afterlife counselors.
I believe, man, but Indian people out there be wary of the whole karmic wheel of fucking samsara and all that. Like, they're going to use that against you. So, oh, yeah, see, we were right the whole time. See, then ego comes into play and you start saying, see, my people did have it figured out. And then you feel like you won the game, too, on top of it. But it's like, it's going to deceive you. It's going to deceive you. If it had any love for you, it wouldn't wait for you to die in the misery realm to give you some good news.
This occurs in large classrooms in university-type buildings. This goes on for years. The objective is to break down the targeted human and create a sense of low self-worth and guilt towards the recently completed physical life. The fake concepts of karma and karmic debt are continuously presented to the human victim.
That matches
Later in the
reality.
indoctrination, the Earth School scam is heavily promoted. In the period right before memory erase, the targeted human is presented with soul contracts. These completely insane contracts allow for the human to be put into specific scenarios in the coming reincarnation. If the deceased human is very accepting of the entire scam process, they are seen as prime suckers. Those who are very religious are told this is an opportunity to enter the kingdom of heaven after the upcoming very hard lifetime. The human never gets into heaven. The same script is used on them again and again. Those who are really into New Age beliefs are the biggest targets. They are told that extreme hardships, including a lifetime of beatings, molestation, and possibly abduction, torture, and human sacrifice would create incredible soul growth for them. This is a...
Guys, remember, contracts are agreed upon. Contracts are agreed upon. And if there's no physical barriers to prevent you from saying, I'm not interested in that, I didn't sign that, I don't remember signing that. Fuck what they say about their they try to say, oh, you agreed to this fuck, I didn't agree to it. And if I did at some point, you guys have fucked with my memories to the point I don't remember it. So I don't agree to it no more. And I didn't agree to it then. I don't agree to it now. And I'm not even telling you to say these things, but that's the way you should be thinking. I don't even think you should speak to these things. Like, I think the silent treatment's the best thing. Just look at them like, why is this thing associating with me? Get the fuck away from me, you weirdo. Oh, look, we love you. I'm just going to look at them like, love? Like, you things love me? Now you love me? Like, I'm going to be a different type of dead person than these fucking things.
The 100% complete scam. There is no such thing as soul growth. The New Age believer is then horrifically brutalized during the next incarnation. The only reason for this is that it creates huge amounts of louche energy from the fear, pain, and suffering. The louche energy is then consumed by the evil archons and the crazed master, the satanic demiurge. After the human agrees to the soul contract, the human counselors show them a few choices of scenarios they will be placed in. The choices are usually very similar. This is where New Age morons say they got to choose their parents. In actuality, the counselors are given a few different choices made by the archons. These choices are then shown to deceased targeted human. The archons are known for aggressively lying as well as misrepresenting an upcoming incarnation. The fact is that no one should agree to soul contracts. No one should agree to memory erase and reincarnation.
Hell no.
The only purpose of all of this madness is to keep the human enslaved to produce louche energy. With memories erased, the human is an endless loop of life, death, reincarnation. This is enslavement. It must be stopped. The huge majority of humans live outside of the simulation and are free. People in the simulation are slaves. The archons have promoted the illusion there is free will in the simulation. Because of this, the free humans do not intervene. This has gone on for a long time. At this point, it seems the archons no longer care about promoting that illusion. They are going for it all. The archons seek to...
free humans can't intervene? What does he mean? Into the simulation? I don't understand what he means by that. I think what I would call free humans that are in this realm can't intervene. They can't do anything. They're forced. They're subjected. What could they do? And maybe he's talking about real humans outside of the matrix. And then if this is a matrix, then what are we? Are we just some program that could be unplugged? Or what is our soul? Or is our soul literally trapped physically by some sort of trap? But because now, like, we're talking about spirit. In spirit, is there really nets that can capture you and little guns with glowing balls that can shoot you down? And, well, like, what in spirit?
To permanently cut off the simulation from the real free universe. They had their Illuminati initiates create the frequency fence that circles the planet. They want absolutely no one escaping. With the coming AI being developed by the satanic global elite, they seek to put all soul beings into a matrix within the matrix. At that point, any hope of escape to the real free universe basically ends. This is why it is of such urgency to wake up humanity before it is too late. Question: have you ever heard the strange beep during astral traveling? Answer: every once in a while when I just wake up I hear a loud beep. I do not keep an alarm clock in my bedroom or any other type of devices.
Shit, I hear one all the time, every day, all day, every day. I'll just be chilling and all of a sudden just... and it'll go on for like 10 seconds. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, one of these ear ringing things is happening. It happens to me probably 2-3 times a day, every day.
I am very familiar with hypnagogia and its images and sounds. This is absolutely not hypnagogia or any illusion. This is real. It is a beep that happens very quickly upon waking up. Most people never hear it. The difference is that I am highly skilled at the outer body and meditative states. I am completely awake and aware when I wake up. This does not happen often. It is very rare, but every once in a while you catch it. It is a beep coming from the
It's actually that's weird because I have heard random beeps, but not when I'm just waking up. It's actually when I'm at random moments when I'm trying to meditate. I would hear like random beeps, and I would always be confused as like, what makes that beep? It sounds like this very gentle, like high tech type of just like boop or like a beep, just like a beep, and I'm like, where the fuck is that? Because my computer ain't gonna make a beep like that. Like my TV ain't gonna make a beep. Like what's making that beep? But I would hear them in meditations and sometimes it would actually I would go back and because a lot of times I would be listening to like meditation music and I would go, was it in the fucking meditation music? These beeps, and I'd go back and re-listen. And they were never in the music, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're actually like hooked up to a pod right now, like in the Matrix. Like I'm hearing the machines of the damn like hospital pod waiting room thing, like boom beep.
the matrix. It alerts the controllers when you have returned to the physical dimension. My theory is the beep alerts the controllers when a person has re-entered back from astral travel. It is said the NWO shadow government has advanced tech that alerts them to when an alien or cryptid crosses over and enters our realm through a portal. It must be similar technology. The most disturbing part is that it reinforces the fact that this universe is a computer-driven simulation. About life in the astral world, I was raised in a loving Christian home and did Bible study for years when I was very young. Unfortunately, I now know the exact truth of our reality. This universe is a simulation. It is controlled by crazed psychopaths known as the Archons. All humans go to the same place, the astral afterlife. I was actually there last.
Okay, there's an astral afterlife that's controlled by evil archons, but why does he say this place is a simulation? What's giving him that? Like, did he reach some wall in the astral that looked like electronics or computer chips, or like, why do they always say that? This place is just a simulation. So, are we prisoners of war then? Was like that weird theory that I like a weird what if? It was the only way that I could come up with like a way to fucking make sense of our torturing existence. Why it would be happening in a simulation? It's like the only thing would be if you were a prisoner of war and they put you in the damn VR. Like now you're going to be in a hell realm where there's a bunch of tyrants making you slave every day. Like, what did we do? I don't know. If that's true, I don't feel like I'm a prisoner of war. I feel like okay, I'll say this: I don't feel like I'm a prisoner of war because I have amnesia. But if I'm being subjected to this reality, I believe that I could be a prisoner of war. Like whoever's doing it to me, like must really not like me and people like me. You know what I'm saying? They're not a fan of us. Who would create a realm like this and have you experience if they loved you? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make no sense. But
Night. It is a very unpleasant place. All humans are allowed to stay there for roughly 30 years. They are then subjected to a horrific process that erases their memories. All humans are then reincarnated again and again. It is very difficult to hear this. Sadly, it is the actual truth. Souls cannot be destroyed. They can
bro,
be significant.
this dude said, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut. This is gonna end up being who cares, whatever. Then I'll just make a fucking long video. Deal with it. You don't like long videos? Don't watch the fucking thing." But this dude said he walked in on like, or was it him or maybe other astral projectors said that they had walked in on rooms where they seen what appeared to be like cadavers, corpses with computer chips and stuff like, or like monitoring them and hooked up to them, like shocking them, like killing them super dead, even though they're dead. I guess I don't know what he was saying, but or if the computer chips right, but like they're torturing people so bad, like till they forget who they are. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, oh my god, oh my god, oh ain't my god. By the way, I'm not a fan of O. If this is O's realm, O can kiss my ass. Actually, he can make his mouth an O and put it to good work. That's what he could do. Bitch ass fucking. Anyways, half god, pretend to be ass god, little pathetic ass, bottom feeder ass parasite, mind fucking parasite, little pathetic bottom feeder fish fucking demon.
Significantly damaged to the point of almost complete subjugation. This is our shocking reality. You have real soul creator gods who have been horrendously beaten down and turned into mindless slaves. Karmic debt and reincarnation is the major reason for this. No one can get ahead. The knowledge and skill they gain is erased by the psychotic archons after physical death. Earth is not a school. There are no lessons. In fact, the archons have almost everyone going backwards in development. Enlightened Buddhist masters from 100 years ago are now reincarnated into moronic fools.
Yes, this realm would have you going backwards in development, though. Like, if you're supposed to become this angelic Christ-like, never did a wrong thing, never stepped on a bug, perfect, loving prince. Like, well, then put me in a fucking realm like that, you goddamn fucking retards. Do you understand? That's like giving me submarine lessons for my driving test. That's like giving me piano lessons for my singing audition. It makes no sense. This is to learn what? How to be evil? What are we supposed to learn? Why don't you tell us about what we're supposed to learn? Why are the motherfuckers that are dying finding out that you were supposed to learn something back there? Does that make any sense? Let's watch the rest of this stupid ass dumb shit.
Who know nothing. Full confrontation against the Archons is necessary. This madness must come to an end. The world is going to get much worse with the completion of the satanic NWO. Use your time wisely and develop yourselves now, before it is too late. You are your own savior. Recent experiences I had in the astral afterlife. Suddenly I am in a suburban neighborhood. I am standing on a small baseball field surrounded by fences about 20 feet high. This place looks somewhat familiar, but I am not exactly sure. I float myself over the fence and land on the street. I begin walking around. This looks any neighborhood you would see in the USA. Approaching a street going downhill, I decide to float up and coast along about 15 feet off the ground. Coming to a stop, I recognize this building. It is a 3-story apartment building. There is a Jim Morrison poster in a window of one of the units. I enter the building and walk in the apartment. This is where a deceased relative is now living with her boyfriend. Sadly, that is...
Bro, there's even celebrity worship in the astral realm. Like, oh my god, bro. I can't take this shit, dude. I can't. I'm gonna end up fucking, like, I'm gonna end up going crazy, bro. I'm gonna become a crazy motherfucker. Like, it starts attacking anything that comes near me, like, type of. Oh my god. Yeah, and they had the Jim Morrison posters, and you could go to the local fucking bar and watch the dude play the fucking play a song. It's like, what is this? I don't give a fuck about none of that.
Deceased can undergo significant personality changes in the astral afterlife. This is due to no longer interacting with the still living friends and family they left behind. An additional factor is that negative behaviors such as violence, substance abuse, perversions, and random sexual encounters are heavily promoted by the controllers. They want people occupied and distracted. As long as they do not question the Archons and their agenda, anything goes. This relative was the kindest and most caring person you could meet. She has changed into an arrogant and foul-mouthed jerk who has been programmed by the horrible people she is friends with in the afterlife.
Hey, bro, I just want to say this. I think most of the people watching this too, unless you're asexual or your sex drive is just completely dead or something, or you don't feel horniness in the astral realm or something, I don't know. But if you could instantly think of being with the type of woman that you would love to be with, and it happens, and that's sex games, everybody watching this probably is going to play some sort of sex game. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, well, tell me about your realm that's completely magnificent, absent of all these low-level chakra acts like sex and stuff. What do you do in that realm? Do you sit around an ethereal fire made of blue light and go and like project positivity? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what would you do if you weren't doing sex games or little combat games with your buddies in the astral realm? And what else is there to do that's of a higher level of importance? I would love to hear that.
It is difficult enough to see someone you care about is dead and now in a bad place. It is much worse to see them become insulting and hostile towards you. I decide these narcissists need to be put in their place during this visit. There is a very loud and outrageous...
I'm going to fucking practice my powers until I become powerful enough to fight against this fucking disgusting machine. I'm going to destroy it from the inside out. That's the only if that's the only alternative I have.
Party happening in the apartment above. Heading up there, I invite all of the party participants to come downstairs and trash the place. Things quickly get out of control to the point that the afterlife law enforcement quickly shows up. These goons always arrive very quickly and enjoy pounding on anyone who they think is questionable. Looking out the window, I see them putting people in line single file. The afterlife law enforcement are total psychopaths. Any interaction with them is trouble. I wonder if there has been people who get captured by them and never make it back to the physical body. Using telekinesis, I smash her. Window open and float, fly out the window. At this point, I am hovering about 50 feet off the ground and decide to leave the area. This is different from the type of flying you would see Superman do. I am standing straight up and taking very long strides. It looks almost like I am jogging. The difference is I am 50 feet off the ground and I am pushing myself forward with my arms similar to a swimmer doing a breaststroke motion. Crossing numerous fields, I am now hovering in the air. Below is a small local airport with a few dirt runways. In the distance, I can see a man in an elevated control tower. A small plane goes by. It is maybe 100 feet away at most. This plane is like none I have ever seen before. It is incredibly futuristic. Another one approaches a few seconds later. The technology.
Honestly, if I was sitting here with this dude, I'd have to say, wait, I have a question. Wait, I have a question. Wait, like he said when he travels through the astral, like he jumped out, he broke a window and he jumped out of the fucking window to get away from these thug ass cops or whatever. And he's floating 50 feet above the ground. And he said he moves in strides, so like almost like little slingshot spurts. But he said from his perspective, it's almost like he's striding, like his arms like a swimmer would be, basically, to make these strides. And he kind of like kicks his legs and strides in the air. And it's like, I don't know. I thought when people astral projected, they didn't have arms or legs or what. And sometimes I hear that they have a 360-degree perspective. Their vision's much more bigger, like they can view much more. I've heard. So I don't know what he's talking about. Like I would have a question every 5 words this dude talks in this video. I would have another question.
Technology of these planes is much more advanced than what we would see in our dimension. I decide this is not a good place to hang around and begin my movement through the air again. Up ahead there is a small object floating at my height. It is a drone of some sort and looks technologically advanced. It seems to be heading towards me. Not wanting trouble, I quickly exit the area and am now crossing numerous streets with cars driving under me. Landing on the ground, I see many nice houses. There is a business on the other side of the street. It is some type of video surveillance business. There is a luxury car parked in front of it. Whomever owns the place seems to be doing well for themselves financially. There are some that live in very luxurious houses, but most regular people in the afterlife are struggling from what I have seen. Above me there is a cable that seems like it is for a tram or trolley. I decide to grab onto it and travel into this busy downtown area. This is similar to traveling on zipline, except I have one hand holding onto this cable. As I go along I see many people walking around, shopping, etc. I wonder who they were. What happened to them? I feel great sadness knowing they are dead. They cannot get back to the physical dimension. Their silver cord is gone, and there is no suitable body waiting for them to return to. Most do not even notice, but a few see me cruising by above them. They look shocked, and I know why. Any type of floating, flying, or traveling above ground is completely prohibited.
Just wanted to say this silver cord thing he's saying. This is something I've actually heard from multiple different accounts, different people, not just this Reddit post. Other astral projectors, they all talk about these silver lines or cords that connect us all. I don't know what that means.
I have seen some people do it there, but it is very
unless we're the neurons inside God's consciousness or something.
Very rare. They are scared of the consequences and allow themselves to be limited and subjugated. This is very sad considering they all have the ability to float, fly, and do telekinesis if they wanted to. A few minutes later, I let go of the cable and come to a stop on the ground. This is a shady part of town. It seems every city in town has one of these.
This hits in pop, bro. Come on, bro. Are you kidding me? How tyrannical must it be then? You're telling me you're going to put me in a fucking reality where I could fly and it's prohibited? Fuck you, motherfucker. You ain't fixing to tell me I'm not going to fly, motherfucker. I'm going to fly every fucking where. What are you talking? And you just would think that there'd be enough rebellious souls that would be that way. Like, this dude's describing some shit that's just so unbelievable. Like, what? You're in a realm that's just like physical reality, and then you're like, hey guys, check it out, and you float for 3 seconds, and some giant, like 6'8" tall fucking muscular cop shows up with a baton, starts beating your head in. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
These red light districts. Numerous strip clubs and gambling halls occupy both sides of the street. People are all around and many look very intoxicated. Others simply look lost and hopeless. Further down the road is an attractive looking nightclub. I decide to go inside and hang out. A doorman is taking a cover charge from the people in line. This is hard to explain, but I make money appear in my pocket to cover the expenses. Heading inside, the place is very nice actually. It is clean and classy. The theme appears to be music from the 1980s, and the song, One Thing Leads to Another, is playing quite loudly. People are conversing. Many are speaking in a mix of English and French.
Sounds fun.
For those who want to make the difficult afterlife realm somewhat easier, I would highly suggest you learn to speak French. Or at least be able to understand what the French speaker is saying. The afterlife is bilingual. English is spoken almost everywhere, but you will hear French being spoken quite often. The white light tunnel is a portal into the astral afterlife. When a deceased human enters the light, they will eventually exit.
You see what I'm saying with the dude? The Matrix was a documentary. Like, bro, what's with this? The French, remember the Frenchman and all the French people? It's like, what the fuck? Something weird happened with that movie. There was a weird channeling happening with that movie. I don't know. Everybody involved with it, even them dudes that bought or that really stole the idea from the lady that wrote it. They ended up turning into like transgenders or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but even they were continuing to channel because I don't know, or if they were still copying her script somewhere. I don't know, but because a lot of that shit was in like Matrix 2, Matrix 3.
Into an area known as the Processing Center. This is a huge building with offices and significant security. The deceased are registered and given a synopsis of where they are and what is allowed. Most of the deceased stay in cramped dormitory-style housing until they can afford to get an apartment. Relatives that died earlier may have housing for them when they arrive. Some choose to immediately live outside and on the street. The age you died at is the same age you will see yourself as having in the afterlife. Afterwards, many people stay at the age they were when they died. Some can then choose to look younger. This is all conditional on one's individual belief system. I have met people who were elderly and died from horrible injuries in car accidents. Because they have control of their inner beliefs and have visualization ability, they now look 35 years old and have no injuries. A relative of mine passed away at age 70. He entered the afterlife looking that age. I saw him recently and he now looks about 30. Someone else passed away at 75. He now looks about 60. Changes, if any, will vary on belief system and comfort level. Other people continue to walk around on crutches and look old and frail. They refuse to believe they have the ability to change their appearance. The programmed victimization mentality, society ingrained into them their whole lives, cannot be shaken. A close friend of mine killed himself. I have visited him many times over the years in the afterlife. When I told him the anguish his mother went through, he had deep regret about doing it. I have met many other previously unknown people in the afterlife who also died that way. Most addicts will continue with their addictions. The afterlife is loaded with people who are really messed up from various things. The Archons promote
Are you
addictions,
kidding me?
perversions, and violent behavior. They want humans distracted.
Well, if that's true, guys, and you're addicted to any substance, you might want to break that habit while you're still here in this reality, because it's going to be another anchor. It's going to be another attachment.
And controllable. The population in the astral afterlife is significantly smaller than that of the physical dimension. It is also much smaller in size. The deceased are forced out and into reincarnation after 30 years. There is also no one being born there. They are harvesting louche there as well. The difference is that so-called matter is much less dense in the astral. It can be molded and formed with directed thought. Objects can be moved by telekinesis and feel almost empty when you move them. Even when you feel stress and pain, it feels less dense and somewhat loose and non-binding. This would be because of the semi-physical nature of the afterlife itself. When focusing and giving great attention to the projected physical form, it seems to make things feel more real, but it is much easier to comprehend the objects in the astral as mere holograms. I think these factors significantly reduces the production and harvesting of louche in the astral.
Dude, what I'm hearing over and over and over again is that we are the ones that are projecting it. Like, oh, you can learn to move these objects and they feel empty. And it's like, are we the ones projecting the hologram then? If we have that much control of it, how could we ever be tyrannically? I don't know. This like doesn't add up, sort of. It just doesn't make sense.
It is also worth mentioning that people are very aloof there. Many are scared and desperate, but a very large amount have no focus on cause and effect. They go through random sexual encounters and violent interactions and show no concern for outcome. Although you can feel pain, they know they cannot die from anything in the astral. I think this reduces louche production, as many have a could care less attitude. The brilliant John J. Falone, author of the
How
must
are they
read book,
gonna?
The Genius Frequency.
How are they? Okay, it's the fact that the human body needs all these things that they can tyrannically control us in the physical realm. If you can manifest your own money, manifest your own food, manifest your own anything, you can move things with your mind. You can break windows out of a building and fly away like a fucking superhero. Uh, Nothing's physical. This sounds like heaven to me. But he's saying, like, while we're in this totally free realm of not being tyrannically controlled, there's a tyrannical control. How are they controlling us, though? Like, what are they doing to control us? Like, taking our fake food away that we can manifest with our minds, taking our fake money away that we can manifest with our. What are they? Do you understand what's like? What are they doing to control us? It almost sounds like we're free spirits in a pretend control realm, if what this guy's saying is true.
Has said the astral is expanding and will eventually completely overlap and merge with the physical dimension. At that point, there would be one huge dimension. If this actually happens, he believes the matrix to be very slowly depreciating, and this contributes to the ultimate merging of the two dimensions.
I hope
It
that
remains
does
to be
happen.
seen. For a long time, the Archons have presented the illusion of free will,
Unless
and
it's
that
for
humans were
evil.
choosing to be subjugated. Having two distinct dimensions, one for life and one for death, has allowed them to create the deception of the Earth School. The targeted humans are herded and harvested in the physical dimension. They are conned into believing the physical dimension is the Earth School area, and it must be completely separate dimension from the afterlife evaluation area. Having a physical dimension perpetuates the karmic debt scam as well. The targeted human is told later in the
You want to know something that's weird, guys? When I was a kid, he's talking about like waiting rooms, and when I was a kid, I watched the movie Beetlejuice religiously, like from the time I was 7, 8 years old, whatever. I remember, okay, in the movie Beetlejuice, there's a waiting room. I remember being in that waiting room. Like as a kid, I remember being in the death waiting room. But I don't know how I remembered it, but because I had never seen a movie before Beetlejuice that had a death waiting room. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I seen something at 3, 4 that I didn't remember, but that could be possible. But I remembered the death waiting room when I had seen the Beetlejuice. And what's weird though is I remember a very calmness of being there. I didn't feel threatened, scared, nothing. It wasn't scary to me at all. I felt actually very peaceful and calm when I was in the death waiting room. But give me one sec, guys. Let's continue.
Later in the afterlife evaluation period of the large amounts of karma created through physical actions. An afterlife counselor told me that because the physical dimension is so dense that all actions create energetic imprints that form the karma. In actuality, my theory is that the so-called karma is actually louche. It has nothing to do with right or wrong. The so-called karma being created is dense low vibrational energy. Energies produced in the astral are of a higher vibration because of the semi-physical incarnation. This leads to the nature of the scam.
I'd say if you didn't want us promoting all this nasty behavior, you shouldn't put us in a fucking realm that promotes and fucking uh, degrades humanity and promotes types of behavior. What a great learning school. Hey, let's get these ghetto-minded kids uh, out of a ghetto-ish mind by throwing them into the Vietnam War. let's get these undisciplined kids to behave properly by throwing them into a torture chamber. Does any of that make sense to any fucking thinking entity? I mean, godly, what we'll just gobble up so that we can be in our little happy place, the human pussy boy thing.
The targeted human the bad choices created, karma. They now must agree to severe hardships to balance and pay off that debt. What is really happening is the human is conned into an upcoming lifetime with significant stress-causing scenarios.
If karma's a thing, these entities and their realm create more of it than any of us ever could have.
This creates more louche that is consumed by the parasites. They then tell the human after the next life is over of the bullshit, karma, that was just created. Through the continuous karmic scam, the enslavement cycle continues again and again. The Afterlife Processing Center in a huge office building complex with multiple floors. There are cameras all over the place and it has turnstiles with security guards about every 100 feet. They do not want anyone exploring other areas. I do not follow their rules and have explored the building several times. You can lift up or even smash the cameras with telekinesis, although no one does it. During an exploration, I was watching a small group of men and women doing military-style drills. They seemed to be recruits for Astral law enforcement. It was disturbing as they only looked 19 or 20 years old. As I stood there for a few minutes, I then noticed a young man from that squad pointing a rifle at me from about 10 feet away. He had seen me doing telekinesis earlier and figured out I was not welcome there.
We should all start practicing telekinesis in the physical realm and see if we could do it together.
He proceeded to shoot me in the arm from what I now
I'm
think
sure
was a
people
laser
have
rifle.
tried that.
It produced.
There has to be incidents where people got gathered and had a 20-person get together where they tried to move something. And I mean, if it was something that happened, it would be pretty commonly known. It would be like the thing to do at parties. You know, instead of playing beer pong, people would be moving the fucking pong cup with their telekinesis right at the last second type shit. Hey, let's all fucking move his cup. When Bill throws the ball, let's all fucking focus at the same time and throw the ball up, in Brittany's blouse, He's got a crush on her. Like this shit would be happening in reality if there was really something to it, is what I'm saying.
To significant burning pain, and I could really feel.
I don't want to see a magic trick. I don't want to see a dude light a fucking newspaper on fire. I don't want to see a dude shocking people with his hand. I don't know how the motherfucker was doing that, but probably for all I know, he had little electrodes under his damn skin. He was literally fucking shocking people. He had a damn battery pack in his fucking. Anyway, there was a dude that was like supposedly like had these powers. He's just a magician doing little fancy parlor tricks and shit. But I'm saying if it was something real to it, it wouldn't be just always mysteriously hidden in a weird nook and cranny that you never actually get the information about it.
The architecture in the afterlife changes as time moves on. It was more simplistic long ago to match with their belief system. Many things now look ordinary, although the cities are incredibly modern. Keep in mind the Archons have ultra-advanced technology. The tech there is much more advanced than what we see in our daily lives. If you were to go into the afterlife suburbs, you would see regular-looking houses, shops, and buildings. But at the same time, there could be a local airport in that same neighborhood.
But this dude's prohibited from floating and flying around. But he's flying around 50 feet in the air, doing his strides at the end. This place is so technologically advanced that he's out there being Spider-Man right in its presence. It doesn't sound that technologically advanced. Technologically advanced to me would be you even thought about using your telekinesis and there was some sort of device in the room to suppress that ability. Like you would break the window and jump out of it to float, but there'd be automatic drones or surveilling devices that suppress it and you'd end up falling and dying. That would be completely suppressed. Like what he's talking about doesn't sound completely suppressed to me.
But with incredibly advanced planes. You could start trouble and be approached by regular-looking law enforcement driving regular modern vehicles. But those same people may have laser rifles and apprehension devices that appear incredibly futuristic. There is
Laser
countryside
rifles
and
in
open
the spirit
spaces.
realm.
I was just at a large bilingual beach community they're called the French Islands. It would have been really enjoyable if
In the spirit realm where you can manifest anything with your mind. Okay, they have laser guns. I have a laser gun shield. Okay, they have a fucking butterfly net light thing. I have a shield that blocks against that now. Just like, what are we talking? Like, I'm saying, well, how do we have? Can we only manifest dollar bills and money, or money and food? Is there a limit to our level of manifestation and telekinetic abilities?
the psychotic afterlife law enforcement was not all over the place. Question: from your astral projections, do you know what happens when someone is wise to their karmacon and says it to their faces? I.e., openly rebellious. I would really like to know, thanks. Answer: I was told there was an uprising against the Archons led by 4 men. There may have been others with the men, but it is almost impossible to get people to talk about it. It seems to be illegal to talk about them. It is difficult to get exact details on when this happened. I think it was about 20 years ago. Sadly, this group known as the 4 were defeated and captured. From what I was told, they were put in jail and later tortured and forced to reincarnate. Someone else told me the Archons have slave labor camps in the afterlife for people who challenge them. Hearing this might make some people scared and now unwilling to challenge the evil Archons. It makes me even more focused and determined to destroy them. I have made my decision and I am going against them, even if I have to do it alone.
So they know my thoughts. They know me now and everything about me with this Akashic records and blah, 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 and I'm plugged into their system. And what's to prevent them from just instantly resetting my mind the second I come back because they know everything about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's to stop that from happening? What chance do I have? When I go in there, do they not know that I'm one of the awoken ones? Am I going to be able to walk around like hush hush, like practicing my abilities in the woods or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's actually going to fucking happen?
Some would say it is crazy and impossible.
Honestly, I'm excited for it because this reality is boring and whack.
But deep
At least on that side, you can see the bad guy.
within, I know it can be done. Recently, I have made huge advancements in the astral. I have discovered I have the ability to change my physical appearance. The so-called astral
You
body
can
absolutely
shapeshift.
can be molded by thought and visualization. I was recently
You guys
in the
remember
afterlife with a
Morph in
very old
X-Men? What did he say? Dude, morphed into the present, and he said, "My fellow Americans, I am an idiot." That shit was hard as fuck. But anyways,
old and frail elderly relative. It took
you may be able to use telekinesis, fly, transform into whatever you want, manifest up whatever you want. Like, bro, why are you living in a prison system in your own self-created prison system, my dude? I think that's what this guy's doing, potentially. I don't know. I could be wrong.
took significant work to get through to him and show him how to transform. Now he is in the afterlife
It sounds like he has God powers in a realm where he's being suppressed by like an Illuminati type police force. Like, what?
and looks like a very muscular
That doesn't even make
25-year-old.
sense.
Anyone can do this. I now wonder if I can make myself 10 feet tall. Perhaps there are no limits except those programmed into the mind. We are in a holographic simulation. The solid world around us is an illusion. This is actually our salvation. It means physical matter and strict linear progression can be changed and transformed by the incredible power of the self-directed eternal creator that we all are. I will never give up. I choose to be different than the programmed mind control slaves. I choose to be crazy. The Archons are masters of manipulation. They will appear in their shiny robes posing as ascended masters and spirit guides to the deceased. They will demean the targeted human, telling him of the bad choices that
I hope their robes are long. I hope that their robes are long. Because if they walk up to me with them robes on, bro, I'm going to pull my pants down. And I'm going to bend down, I'm going to grab the bottom of their robe, and I'm going to wipe my ass with it.
that created karmic debt. If karmic debt
Fuck your robes, you fucking weird ass. I wore a robe, now I'm important. You ain't important to me, you fucking transforming degenerate. You're just another human playing games with me. Probably.
was actually
Or another soul, we could say, playing fucking illusion games or something.
real, the evil Archons would owe more than anyone in history. They commit the most evil acts against soul beings. When the time comes to confront them, their enormous list of offenses they have committed must be thrown in their faces.
I think as long as you're dumb enough and dense enough to live in this low-level reality where these low-level entities want to exist, you're going to experience them.
The time has come to no longer be judged by brutally evil psychotic charlatans. The Archons
But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I would rather be prepared. I would rather prepare for the scariest worse than live in a happy little fucking mental fucking Easter egg filled nest, you know?
Need to be held accountable for their enslavement of soul beings. If you do not escape the matrix after physical death and you end up in the astral afterlife, prepare yourself now for a plan of action. You can either stay quiet, get judged by insane parasites and accept memory erase and reincarnation, or you can finally take a stand and declare yourself as a free sovereign being who will no longer be enslaved by anyone. Whoever you are, big or small, if you seek real freedom, you will need to tell them they are savage liars who have denied the free will of soul beings. Resistance is absolutely necessary. This knowledge will most likely no longer be available in your next physical lifetime. At that point, all humans will be microchipped. Crucial information will have been censored and history possibly rewritten. Continue living a healthy life, but make your personal transformation a hobby that is regularly practiced. Spirit guides are all archons in disguise. To keep the deception going, many of them will tell the targeted human about real things in their life.
I just realized I haven't been brutally honest. There's things that I haven't. Okay, so for example, do you know what I'm gonna do? Like, okay, so if I died and I like had the whole near death experience, and there were entities trying to do the same routine with me that they would with anybody else. You know, come over here, so we're the counselor, this or that. I'm almost immediately going to try to make their heart stop with my mind. I'm instantly going to start trying to suffocate them with my mind. I want them to walk up to me and go, Chris, in their shiny little robes, Chris, we're the council of whatever, and we've come to tell you that you're advanced enough to follow us. I want to instantly see that motherfucker start going, because I'm gonna start being like, I'm just gonna start killing that motherfucker with my mind, bro. Don't you ever talk to me on the other side, bro.
This hooks the targeted human who will then create advertising that spirit guides tell the truth.
I mean, you want to talk to me? We can talk. You want to tell me what I need to do and where I need to go and what, man, motherfucker, I'm going to start killing you. You come near me, telling me what I need to do.
This is very similar to the near-death experience scam that has also mind-controlled most New Age devotees. You never hear of spirit guides informing humans of the shocking truth of the astral afterlife. They also will never mention the archons or the psychotic evil acts they commit against soul beings. This universe has been one huge manipulation. Humans are misled and lied to in so many areas. We are raised and indoctrinated in scam religions created by the archons. Humans wait for mythical saviors who will never show up. I cannot stress enough that everything the archons will tell you after death is all lies used to enslave you. Basically, entities that are a million times worse than a psychotic serial killer are posing as higher beings. These despicable parasites denigrate and judge deceased humans over and over again. The Archons created the karmic debt and Earth School scams that have enslaved all humans on this planet. When you understand and really look at them, those scams are absolutely ridiculous, and it is beyond absurd that they have been able to pull it off this long. About my astral experience with an alien disguised as a woman, many others have fallen for women in the same fashion. I had an interesting experience in which I met a beautiful woman who brought me into a strange technologically...
An alien disguised as a woman. Well, if you can transform into anything or morph, whatever you want to call it, you could technically morph into an alien. So when he says alien, what is that? Is that not a human soul? Is that an alien soul from another place? Like, I don't understand what he's talking about.
Advanced building. She was very intent on getting me to go into the facility and to enter a dimly lit room on the lower level. The building made me very uncomfortable, and I then saw her lose control and shift back into what appeared to be an alien. She tried to convince me by projecting an image of a young woman on a beach into my mind. This entity seemed inexperienced at this manipulation attempt and was suddenly angrily reprimanded by another alien who had been hiding behind the scenes. This supervisory alien, who appeared to be male, although they both seemed sort of genderless, was openly hostile and said to me, "You will be kept here for experimentation purposes." I was extremely nervous and left immediately, but it was a shocking thing to experience. Other astral travelers have told me the horror they felt when the beautiful woman they were kissing or having sex with suddenly shifted back to its true form. Demons are looking to absorb energy but also seem to enjoy very perverse behaviors. In the afterlife, there are also entities that are not demons or aliens that are known as charmers. These charmers are deceased.
This is going to be a weird thing to question, but I have to question it. So if you were clapping some girl's cheeks and, you know, like in Don't Be a Menace or whatever, where she turns into the fucking, I'm going to fucking get you, and she fucking ended up getting Loke Dog or whatever. Like, what if you yourself were okay with her lizard form enough to just keep going as if it didn't even matter to you? What happens then? Does she still, like a mantis, turn around and eat your head during sex? Like, what happens if you just don't even care that she turned into a lizard? You just keep going. What happens then? I mean, I can't imagine anybody did that, but I would really like to know. Like, and what happened? Okay, so when you're banging some chick and she turns to a lizard, and you go, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" And you pull out or whatever, and you're like, "I'm not gonna do that with you, because you're a lizard person or whatever." What happens? Do they attack you? Do they, now that you've seen my form, like what happens? Do they go, oh, fine, if you don't want to spend time with me, and give me a little bit of loose in my demon form, lizard form, whatever you want to call it, like, I'll just go my own way. And they like buckle their pants up and leave the room. And you're like, stupid lizard lady. Like, how does it all end and have, I mean, I just got too many questions watching some shit like this, bro. I need to experience it myself to have an actual opinion.
Humans, usually males, who have the ability to scan a person's energy field and pick up images of people the targeted human has been recently thinking of. Although rarely seen, these charmers get cruel thrills by pretending to be a friend or relative of the targeted human. They also cloak themselves as attractive women to fool others into sexual encounters with them. The way to avoid almost all of this is to really develop awareness in the out-of-body state. This can also be developed.
Bro, if I'm banging some chick and she turns into a lizard, I'm going to turn into a fucking badger, bro. Scare the fuck out of her. If you're a lizard, what would a lizard be afraid of? Yeah, badgers fuck lizards up, don't they? Yeah, I'm going to turn into a badger, bro. If she turns into a lizard and tries to play some fucking prank on me, I'm going to turn into a badger.
Developed through regular focused visualization during meditation. The light has
and continue doing what we were doing.
Not one. Nothing has changed in the simulation. The Matrix AI is still in complete control. These so-called lightworkers, who say the Astral has been liberated, are role players who have no idea what they're talking about. The demons and vampires are not gone. Nothing has changed. What we are trying to do is very important. Let's try to focus on information of very high quality. There are many people making YouTube videos who have no idea what they're talking about. If we are going to wake up people, we need to show them excellent research. A few years ago, there was a guy named Cobra who was putting out material on the internet that was very popular. He was saying how he and his white knights had defeated the Archons and ended reincarnation. Everything he said was completely wrong. Either it was all made up, it was role-playing, or it was a deliberate psyop to mislead people. It did incredible damage because many who were looking to challenge the Archon system now think it is over and everything will be great. Many stopped their transformation and went.
And maybe they did. But it was in their own internal universe. In their own internal projected universe, they have defeated the adversary.
Back to sleep. The Archon.
Maybe. I mean, potentially, again, I don't know. I'm not a person. He just said in the video, I'm pointing at myself. I don't know what this dude's talking about, but we need to give it a listen and be honest. Be honest about what this could be happening. A lot of astral projectors would agree with this video.
Cons are incredibly powerful. They're not going to be removed by a few role players who have good intentions. We are all friends here.
And they all use the same language, which is weird. That's weird.
We need to work together. Let's stay focused and keep posting high.
The AI Archon simulation matrix, like what the fuck machine? Like what? What are you talking about? Is this a program? Like, are we in the fucking GameCube? Is this Xbox 720 or whatever the hell it would be? I don't know. 1080, fucking 1440.
High quality information. Mantis.
What is it? Like, what are we? Are we in a simulation? And then all these experiences we have are just our best way of describing what it's like to be an AI program in a fucking simulated fucking machine. Godly, that's a shitty reality. That's a no reality. That's a fucking all fake, pretend, total recall simulation.
These aliens are real. They are extremely hostile to humans and a part of.
Technically, then nothing matters.
The Archon hierarchy.
If that's true.
2 different people from another website contacted me and told me of how each had been experimenting with different forms of altered states. Each person woke up in a huge room in pods somewhat similar to those seen in the first Matrix movie. Neither of these people knew each other and both told me the same thing was experienced. Both woke up in a strange pod filled with a pink sand-like substance. Both were extremely confused as to what they were experiencing.
Pink sand, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard this from people that have taken LSD, pink webs. Usually, and what's weird is I heard that from 2 different girls. 2 different 2 different locations. About the pink webs. The webs, they're on everything. Oh, the pink, you don't see the pink webs? Like, I heard that from 2 different girls. I'm like, what the fuck's with this pink webs? Now I think about it, I was never told that by a guy. It was 2 different girls. But anyways.
Both people were approached by a mantis alien that was angry and told them, go back to sleep. Each person was then shocked with a device that looked somewhat similar to a cattle prod and passed out. If there is truth, I am not sure at this point, to these 2 experiences, it would mean we are inside this simulated universe, and our actual physical bodies are unconscious in a universe above this one. This is hinted to in the recent Amazon film about computer-simulated realities called Bliss. In the film, a group of physicists are at a function, and one of them is doing a presentation. He says this universe is a simulation within a simulation and so on. That it is, turtles all the way down.
That would be the best prison or mind matrix to create as a simulation within the simulation, because then even if they get out of the simulation, they could they never question being in another one now. I always would. It's just, I think if you're the type of soul that questions those types of things, you're always going to be that way.
Implications of this are shocking. There are a growing number of physicists who subscribe to belief that we
Like, bro, if the veil of reality fell down and I seen God standing there in his godly form or something presenting itself to me as God, there is no such. You are God. But I'm saying, if one of these, and it was all over, and it was all love and light, and all the souls were happy, I still didn't forget about the torturous, bizarre, suffering slave realm we were all just subjected to. I didn't forget that part. Why would I forget about the 40 years of abuse God just subjected me to? Because now he's presented me with this happy little fucking golden looking ass, nice fucking happy moment. And projecting love onto me. It's like, bro, you just beat the fuck out of me for fuck you. What are you loving me now, you weirdo? Why'd you put me in a realm where that happened to me?
We are in a simulation within a simulation.
And I don't know what happened to you guys, but I could give you guys some fucking stories that happened to me that would make you uncomfortable.
In a simulation. After physical death, you will be approached by an archon cloaked to appear as a wise old man or angelic woman. They will say how they also went through the same challenge and through it achieved growth and knowledge from that Earth School experience. This is 100% bullshit and a complete scam. Almost all archons never incarnate in the physical dimension. They faced no ridiculous challenges and had no absurd growth. The only members of the hierarchy that lived human lives long ago are the very few low-level members. These type of cruel scams are used constantly. Many innocent and trusting humans are manipulated into far worse soul contract agreements. People who are deeply mind-controlled by New Age beliefs are prime targets. All religion is used to enslave humans. Members of specific religions are told they are very close, but not yet ready to enter the kingdom of heaven. The truth is that there is no angelic heaven. The targeted human is shown holographic imagery of a Christian-type heaven with fake angels and Christ on a throne. Members of other religions are shown religious propaganda that fits with their programmed belief systems. All of this is a scam. This universe is fake. It is a simulation. The saddest part is the psychotic Archon controllers completely made up absurd religions with fake saviors. The success the Archons have had with this is astounding. Humans fight each other in the name of religion and never question the evil system that savagely controls them. Question: can you be harmed or killed in the astral afterlife? Answer: this is an interesting question. Many deceased people in the afterlife think you can be killed there and would then no longer exist. I think this is completely wrong. Assault and violence are very common in the afterlife. As long as no one threatens or merely questions the Archon hierarchy and the afterlife programming system, violent behavior is tolerated. On many occasions I have seen people repeatedly stab each other. The deceased feel pain and do bleed, but it seems to vary. I have seen men stab each other back and forth and fall in horrendous pain and suffering, and others who then just walk away from it. It appears that some have come to fully understand the astral body does not die. Those people seem to have much less pain. This makes it clear that the more you think the astral body is physical, the more pain and injury you can suffer. Be aware this seems to come from experience. I would not recommend just showing up in the astral and thinking nothing will happen. I have been punched and hit with bats and pipes, as well as shot with some type of energy weapon, on numerous occasions. From that I felt real significant pain. Although it seems to get less painful each time, as my inner mind began to clearly understand the astral body is not that dense and is actually very fluid and malleable.
Okay, so once you become aware that it's not real, it doesn't hurt anyways. I'm going to take a quick break, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's wrap this one up. I see my buddy Benedictines over there uploaded a new video, Why the Chosen Ones Go Through Hell in This Matrix. Probably because they're the only ones conscious enough to wake people up to the Matrix. So the Matrix just like, attack, fucking destroy them, make their lives hell. Anyways, your life becomes the Truman Show. There's a growing process, though. I would say become numb, become detached, don't allow life's happenings to affect you, and they'll stop happening as much. It makes me wonder if we kind of manifest them as they happen. That's why when it rains, it pours or whatever. We become the catalyst to produce more nastiness to piss us off or whatever. Anyways.
This can also revert backwards if not kept in check. As you later forget and then see familiar buildings and cars around you, eat food, and indulge in sexual scenarios, the mind can begin to fall back into the belief of dense physical matter once again. Understanding this is very important. Most of the deceased still subscribe to the same beliefs as seen in the physical dimension. They think they can be significantly hurt and possibly die. Because of this, most are petrified to challenge the Archon hierarchy. They see the afterlife law enforcement carrying multiple weapons and that scares them into submission. My theory is that with
Bro, I'm sorry, but they all just believe that now that they can be hurt and killed, there ain't nobody going around, hey, you got just a heads up, you guys might have forgot this, but you're kind of like not killable or hurtable. Like, there ain't just people with a little bit of consciousness walking around in the after realm. Like, this dude's just so special, he knows it, but nobody else. I mean, it's just
constant
like,
focused beliefs and clear understanding of the
what?
semi-fluid nature of the astral body, that liberation can occur. If you can avoid pain and injury from your deeply held belief system and then begin to mold the so-called objects around you, they cannot hold you. This should be of the utmost importance. Training should begin now in the dream state. I have seen deceased people being taken away in chains and shackles by afterlife law enforcement. It is said they are sent to slave labor camps. The good news is that with the properly trained mind, they would not be able to contain you. If you can reach and maintain that level, you would be able to escape their clutches. This takes regular focused mental effort. People who are religiously programmed and expect a peaceful heaven all end up horrified and totally vulnerable. All people that have woken up and questioned the system will be targeted after physical death.
Where do you go? Like, okay, so these dudes show up, they say he's a conscious one, they take you, they shackle you, and they make you work at slave internment camps in the afterrealm where everybody can manifest what they want. Like, you better go work those minds. Like, boop, let's manifest the fucking gold and be like, take it, you fucking weirdo. What do you want? But anyways, like, but if you train well enough at these mental abilities and get good at being a fucking masterful superhero, you'll escape their clutches. And it's like, but and go where? You're telling me these dudes are completely tyrannical over the whole astral realm, and there's only two other places. I can go into the hellish realm, which is beneath us, and the pretend, which actually makes it only one other place I can go, the pretend heaven that doesn't actually exist. So where do I go? Even if I escape, I learned how to make my hand super small, and I take it out of shackle, and I float out of the prison, right out of yard. Everyone's out there shooting basketball, and I just float out like, see you dickheads later, and I float out into the woods. Where do I go? I'm in the astral realm that's completely tyrannically controlled. This sort of doesn't make sense to me.
You can either kneel down and worship the satanic archon hierarchy as a slave, or you can stand up and declare yourself a true and free eternal creator. The real objective is to make the self an entity that cannot be subjugated and contained. About astral time travel, last night I experienced an adventure like no other. During this incredibly bizarre and exciting experience, I visited 3 distinct locations. The reason this stands out is they were all in individual time periods very different from our current one. In the first segment, I spent roughly 2 hours in what I was told was 1935. There was a huge party happening inside an enormous facility. The people were dressed very formally. The women were beyond beautiful. They looked very classy, but at the same time stunningly approachable and attractive. I have never really watched very old movies, and seeing this in such detail was fascinating. The only reference point I had was it was very much like the look of The Great Gatsby. I wandered around looking in this huge social club. Numerous black and white photos were on the walls of people, mansions, and exotic locations. Looking at them, I wondered who were those people. What was their story that is now long forgotten? Big band music was being loudly played. People were dancing and aggressively drinking martinis and champagne. Some of the women had on scarves and furs over their shoulders. Sounds like a great time. They all wore strange hats. I began to think I had entered into a Matrix period of long ago. My theory is this point in time is stored in the Matrix hard drive, and somehow I was...
They wore strange hats? Okay, bro, I'll wear a fucking strange hat, and I'd be up in there fucking getting it with the rest of them, drinking martinis and smoking a blunt. Whatever, have a good... Every time this dude's explaining this horribly tyrannical afterlife realm, it sounds really cool to me. I mean, man, am I just like easy to please? I don't know. It sounds fun.
able to access it. This time and place seemed so fun and without conflict. I did not want to leave. You could see how easily these men were falling for these hedonistic beauties. Instantly, I am now in a time which seemed to be about 1950. The change was very dramatic. Everyone looks very conservative and uptight. The way they're dressed reminds me of a DVD collection my aunt has called Ozzy
and when he's in the 1950 era, is there still a fucking local capture you up robot store with its androids coming to get you with its batons or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there still the weird... Actually, in the Matrix, if that's still a documentary, it will come in any form it needs to. It'll look like vampires. It'll look like ghosts. It'll look like werewolves. It'll look like aliens. It'll look like Men in Black. It'll look like whatever the fuck it needs to during whatever era. And I'm sure if you're in a 1950s era, maybe the little Illuminati police people do still exist, but they'd look like a cowboy or something, you know, or whatever the hell you look like back then. You know what I'm saying?
Harriet. In both eras, the people could see me and I could talk to them. The people in the 1935 era were super friendly and outgoing. 1950s seems ultra sterile and boring. I notice I am wearing modern day clothing. The 1950 people are horrified and looking at me like I'm Frankenstein. A group actually starts to form and come towards me, and they looked as if they were going to destroy a monster. Quickly.
He was fucking up their RP party, bro. They're having a great time in 1930s, and this fucking dickhead wants to show up with modern clothes. Bro, you're actually ruining their fun. You're ruining their party.
Deciding to protect myself, I yelled, "I am Future Man from space." Upon hearing this, they completely freak out and all run away. This has been absolutely bizarre. I am wondering how this happened to begin with. In an instant, I am standing barefoot on a cold floor in an extremely modern building.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, to show, I would probably do something like this on purpose. I'm being honest, I would. To show up to somebody's 1935 fucking RP party and go, "I'm Future Man from space," and they're like, "Ah!" and they run away from me. I'd probably show up like 15 feet tall and I'd walk like a mummy. I'd be like, "Oh." I'm sorry. Maybe I am a goddamn archon entity trolling people. I mean, I don't know.
A man
That
in
would be
suit walks
fun.
by. He has the appearance of someone in charge. I say to him, I am very confused. Is this a simulation? He answers, of course it is. Why would you even need to ask? He seems agitated and may know I am an outsider. I begin to get dizzy and almost fall over. At that point I notice he is gone. Walking over to a table there is 2 women seated. I ask them where this is. They respond it is a facility outside of Toronto. This place looks high-tech and about 20 years ahead of our current time. One woman says to me, was your trip different from last week? I am now very shocked and confused. I do not know them and have never seen this facility before. I was definitely not there last week. I have had experiences before in which I was traveling in what seemed to be someone else's avatar. Robert Monroe talked about doing this for an ongoing extended period in the book, Catapult, the biography of Robert Monroe. Strangely enough, that book is the only place I have seen him talk about this other dimension he was living in during the OBE. Zovalix correctly said Monroe's work was very likely edited by the powers that be. I wonder if they did intentionally remove those specific experiences as the I there from his books. For some reason it is only shown in that biography and is definitely worth reading. To recap, last night saw the experience of fascinating time travel through the Matrix. The last portion many have been in someone else's avatar.
If you look into Robert Monroe's work, there does seem to be some sort of disagreement here between everything he left behind and what he created to leave behind. Robert Monroe spoke about Loosh, us being fed off of our existence being a Loosh farm. And the current guy that you could say is in control or is the tip of the spear of the opinion of the Robert Monroe Foundation completely disagrees with the Loosh thing, says it's silly. So there seems to be even little dramas over there. Even the little fucking left side versus right side shit going on there. It's all reality does.
I have read a large amount.
Where the fuck's the unity ever? I hate this reality. The only time people can get together is if we're going to watch a fucking football game.
Of very old and mostly forgotten esoteric literature. Some of those books exposed more truth than what is even known in modern times. Those writings were created by highly informed initiates of secret societies and dark magic. Since they were not really read by much of the general public, they were never edited or destroyed. There was numerous examples of what was called the devil and Jehovah that depicted it as a reptilian. The reptilians are real and have a much larger role than was previously thought. They may be at the absolute top of the Archon hierarchy. I have seen them up close twice during astral travel. It is beyond shocking when you really see them. The life review is performed by entities posing as spirit guides and ascended masters. At the highest level is their Lords of Karma, also known as the Council. These charlatans are actually the most evil and psychotic beings in history. They have no business judging anyone else. The fact that someone so purely evil and deceptive is doing this to humans is beyond ridiculous.
Amen.
The targeted human is shown real images from the recently completed physical lifetime. The Matrix is basically a giant virtual reality system. The images are similar to saved computer files. Many times additional images are shown that have nothing to do with the targeted human. The person is told they were a serial killed or maniac in a lifetime many times before. This is total manipulation and the images are from a person who have no connection to the targeted human. Those same images may be used on numerous people. The targeted human is then completely lied to and cruelly told they were incredibly evil many lifetimes before. Because of that they still have lessons and karmic debt to pay off and balance. All of this is part of a huge, very successful scam that keeps humans trapped in an ongoing cycle of reincarnation into slavery. This never should have happened to begin with. The time has come for this horrendous manipulation to end. How the Matrix grid works. The grid maintains the dense rigid structure of seemingly physical objects. So I was driving around in the city and reading the grid psychically and I noticed how rigid the grid structures are there. And I realized that because it's a populated area with a lot of complex geometrical shaped objects, the grid routes a lot of energy into trying to maintain the dense rigid structure of those objects. The grids in cities and populated areas are very rigid and reinforced with a lot of energy. But in less populated areas, the grid structures are less rigid and complex and there is less energy put into maintaining them. So I finally realized something. The grid doesn't just maintain the dense rigid structure of objects. It also functions as a subconscious mind for the entire planet. If there are any astral travelers here, you will know that consensus realities are maintained by the subconscious minds of the inhabitants. But maintained by the subconscious minds of the inhabitants. The grid has taken that to an extreme and it acts as a subconscious mind for the entire planet. The grid tracks every object on the planet, and power is routed to maintain the dense rigid structure of those objects in populated areas. In areas that aren't populated, it probably doesn't give a damn. But if people go out there, it quickly routes energy into the local grid. So it's like a subconscious network for the entire planet. But it doesn't just maintain the dense rigid structure of objects. It also maintains reality programs. The grid is mostly the cause of the laws of physics. The grid runs reality programs that impose limitations on the population. It's very complex and even I don't totally understand it. But the grid maintains not just the dense rigid structure of objects, but the dense rigid structure of reality itself. The grid knows where everything is and it keeps track of everyone and everything. And it moves energy around so that even if you go out into the middle of nowhere, there are still limited reality programs and it still maintains the dense rigid structure of objects. Grid structures in unpopulated areas are nowhere near as complex, so if you want to take a group of say a dozen or 2 dozen people to reprogram the grid to make reality less dense enough to manifest things out of thin air, which would probably be at least 75% less dense than usual, you should take them out into the middle of nowhere because the grid structures are less complex and less rigid. So the grid maintains the dense rigid structure of objects. But it's more than that. The Matrix AI maintains the very shape and layout of the planet and everything on it. So in that way it acts as part of the subconscious mind. The grid itself remembers these things, but it's the I, Sophia and the demiurge that regulate grid energy so that areas with people are dense and rigid. In a way it's like a video game. The more complex geometry there is in area, the more grid energy there is to maintain the dense rigid structure of that geometry. So how does the grid work and how is it able to try to maintain such a
So where's the best place to be then? Out in the middle of the desert? Or I guess if sand has to be polygonated, that's a lot of polygons. Or how does that work? Does dirt and grass and all that have to be added into? Like, I don't really understand how it works.
dense limited world? It's actually quite simple. The average person doesn't generate much energy, but if you siphon energy off of millions or billions of people, they generate a lot of energy. The grid system absorbs fear energy from the population and uses it to reinforce the dense rigid structure of objects. A group of 100 people in a populated area can't generate enough energy to override the grid and make changes to the structure of objects in that area. Not even with focused intention. They may be able to make it less dense, but most likely they don't know how to do that. And even if they did in a city, it could take
So he's saying that a bunch of us should go out into the middle of nowhere where there's just nothing to make polygons or, not too much information. The veil would be thin enough that we would be able to manifest exactly what we needed.
Hundreds of people to make an area less dense because the grid structures are more rigid and there is a lot more energy running through the grid in a populated area. So the grid makes it so that it takes a serious concerted effort by a lot of people to change the shape of objects. Without making an area less dense, it could take thousands of people in an unpopulated area just to bend a spoon. For that you can thank the grid. But the grid can bridge reprogram to make a small area a lot less dense so that you can manifest objects out of thin air. Basically, grid energy would have to be pumped out of the area to the point where reality becomes more flexible. Once enough grid energy is gone, you can use intention to make the area less dense. Just getting rid of grid energy in an area may be enough to do that. When it's more than 75% less dense than normal, you can manifest objects out of thin air. And I said this is best done out in the middle nowhere, preferable in an empty field with little to no trees nearby. Because the grid also maintains the structure of trees, so an empty field far from civilization will have a minimum of grid energy. So if you want to do this, that is the best place. Also, the grid doesn't just maintain the structure of objects. It maintains reality programs like the laws of physics, and it maintains programs that make populated areas rigid and very difficult to change. There are interconnecting grid structures that prop up these areas and maintain.
So the more populated we become, the less powerful we become at manifesting.
Limited reality programs and the dense rigid state of objects in the area. It's the equivalent of if you had an astral consensus reality and you had the subconscious minds of hundreds of people propping up a small area. But unlike the subconscious mind, the grid
are not populated. You could say condensed, because you could have a huge population, but if you're not a part of the condensed part of it, you're not a part of the theory I'm talking about.
Can't generate its own energy, it gets it from us. But it does maintain the structure of reality itself like the subconscious mind does in consensus realities. The grid also maintains reality programs that impose limitations. It's like it tries to make reality as limited as it possibly can. It most likely also imposes other types of programs that influence people. Things like time programs that slow down time for negative experiences. Yeah, they use those, it's sick what they're into. And it could be that it runs programs that try to
So he's saying that the whole reality is a simulation, that everything's sort of powered by some sort of CPU you could call the grid, and the more dense of a populated of an area you are with buildings and houses and tons of everything, trees and blah, blah, there's a lot of information for it to calculate, making it less likely for you to be able to alter it with your subconscious. It's a power, technically saying this thing works for us, but we've been sort of manipulated, blah, blah, but
prop up the illusion that it's a physical world, when seemingly physical objects are really just light shaped by force fields. So it's similar to a holodeck but way more advanced. But seemingly physical objects are holographic. Atoms don't exist, that is a bullshit story they came up with. But if you looked at one under a microscope, the eye would probably render one for you. But it's just an illusion. The grid is not the only thing that makes Earth so dense.
All right, guys, let's actually try to wrap this one up. This rainstorm doesn't seem to be going, but it seems to be eased up right now, so we'll just have to hear the little raindrops during the last little part of this fucking thing, but let's get this shit done with, baby.
But it's just an illusion. The grid is not the only thing that makes Earth so dense. There are cloaked negative energy clouds in the atmosphere that weight everything down and make it more dense. But the grid makes things very dense and rigid. When enough people, and it wouldn't take a lot, learn to manipulate the grid, we can create pocket paradise, less dense worlds on Earth out in the middle of nowhere. These worlds would be less dense enough to fly, teleport, shapeshift, manifest objects out of thin air. I won't lie, getting adjusted to less dense worlds is not easy. As an astral traveler, I spend a lot of time in them. You can manifest your worst fears, but you get over it and then they're a lot of fun. The goal is to teach people how to create them on Earth. When people realize the scale that they have been lied to about how reality works, they're going to be very pissed off. They will wonder why they're working a crappy 9-to-5 job when they can manifest what they want out of thin air. When people start learning how to manipulate the grid and create a less dense world, it is going to blow people's minds. Most people are living in a sewer and don't realize it. The grid absorbs fear energy from the population and pumps it into your living room. It runs through the planet, into every home and building. Fear in the grids is used to maintain the dense, rigid structure of seemingly physical objects and to lower the vibration of the planet. The elite also do their rituals on important gird lines, and that energy also goes into your living room. On top of that, there are cloaked negative energy fields in the atmosphere that weigh everything down and make everything dense. Most people are unaware of their existence, but I can sense them. And there is usually a ton of negative energy as people's energy field. I cleared my energy field recently and felt a lighter. So the Earth is drowning in negative energy. Energy shapes reality. So what kind of effect do you think a planet full of negative energy is going to have on reality? It's not good. The presence of so much negative energy no doubt manifests negative outcomes for a lot of people. We have to start cleaning up this mess. I can clear negative energy from an area and raise the vibration. But the eye controls the grid system, so it just moves more negative energy into the area to lower the vibration. We have to find a way to clear areas and keep them clear and on a high vibration. We need to program the subconscious mind to completely remove the grid in our homes and to automatically neutralize negative energy and raise the vibration. If there are soul contracts involved, they need to be revoked immediately. The Earth is a psychic sewer. We need to start cleaning up the mess, at least in our own homes. We shouldn't have to put with psychic sewage in our own homes. The subconscious mind has to be reprogrammed to uphold a more positive reality. And the grid system has got to go. They use the grid to spread negative energy all over the planet. It's a psychic sewer, and we need to start cleaning up the mess before it is too late. About the holes in the matrix grid, no one knows the exact reason that holes have been seen in the frequency fence that surrounds the planet. My current belief is that there is multiple factors. 1. The technology used may have some bugs in it. The elite to make mistakes sometimes. It is possible the tech is not 100% perfected. Weather conditions may possibly play a role. 2. Deceased humans have been trying to escape. It is very likely that their energy fields may be causing damage to small areas.
Yes, this highly advanced. Do you guys realize how silly that is? This highly advanced technology that's so advanced we can't imagine it would sound like magic, or would be like magic to us, has created this sort of electromagnetic net that captured all our souls in it. It's that advanced that it has this type of tech to capture souls, but when it hooked up the net, there might be a few holes in the net. Like, what? They're probably 3D printing. How would there be mistakes like that? Holes in the net? Like, what? How?
Of the fence. Deceased humans who have strong energy fields might even be ramming their way through it. The fact that the frequency fence even exists is beyond disturbing. The satanic global elite have really cemented their insane devotion to the Archons and the satanic demiurge. They put the fence in place knowing its purpose is to keep deceased souls from escaping this nightmare.
All right, so that sort of ends the video. And to sum it up, so the astral realm, or what we could call the afterlife experience, the death realm, the astral realm is a sort of prison planet, just as bad as this one, even more tyrannical. You have powers and stuff, but you can't even use them because the baton police will show up and bust your head open and fucking drag you to a prison where you'll be destroyed or whatever, and your mind will be wiped and blah blah, and just like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? But supposedly that's what's going on. Hopefully none of this shit's true. Hopefully this dude's just manifesting his own internal little reality. It seems like that in many ways. A lot of this stuff makes sense to the observable reality as a true seeker. A lot of it doesn't, though. We've got to be honest about it. Like, just because Soul Trap sounds so good in some cases don't mean it really does sound stupid in other cases, though, too. Like when you hear a lot of these weird arguments about what these people are saying, these astral projectors, it sounds odd. Like a lot of it's, well, I think I proved that in this video. Like a lot of it has some weird arguments and stuff like that. It's like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? That shit don't even, what you just said contradicted with what you're saying now. So a lot of it's weird, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.